Hello and welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Explore our playlist for more captivating novels, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new audiobook. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. Sign into the Law Manifestation. The previous emperor passed away, and the prince ascended the throne. The previous emperor passed away, and the prince ascended the throne. Sharp voices echoed throughout the palace. Li Yun, who had been the crown prince for only half a day, put on the five-clawed dragon robe in a daze and sat on the supreme throne. It was not until all the officials in the Golden Palace left and Li Yun was carried to the bedroom that he came to his senses. He was just transmigrated in the morning, and then he was crowned as the crown prince. His father passed away in the afternoon and he ascended the throne. Damn, my life has passed so quickly. Li Yun, who was being undressed by a maid, never imagined that as the prince with the worst background in the great Qian dynasty, he had ascended to the supreme position in a muddle. The queen mother is here. Came the sharp voice of the gatekeeper eunuch. Several maids who were helping Li Yun undress were shocked and knelt down without caring about Li Yun. Li Yun frowned. He was confused all day and his original body's memories had not yet been fully integrated. I just remember that although this empress dowager was the empress dowager, she had absolutely nothing to do with me. I don't even know if it's older than me. A month ago, when the late emperor was still alive, he took some kind of aphrodisiac and took a young concubine. Then, in less than half a month, he deposed the original queen and made this concubine the queen. When he passed away, the queen was promoted to queen mother. Li Yun had no mother, as his mother died when he was born. Before he could put on his coat, he saw a beautiful figure walking into the bedroom. This was the first time Li Yun met the queen mother, and he began to understand the late emperor a little. This is so gorgeous. As for the stars and goddesses of later generations, they are not even worthy of carrying her shoes. All the beauties in the palace are pale in comparison. The old emperor was really lucky. With such a queen, no wonder he died so young. You guys go back. The young empress dowager waved her hand, and all the servants retreated tremblingly. Li Yun was a little puzzled. I am the king of my country, what do I have to be afraid of? Greetings, queen mother. Li Yun bowed slightly. After all, she is still his mother in name, so he cannot be impolite. The young empress dowager swayed her skirt, bringing up a gust of fragrant wind, and said with a smile. Your Majesty, how come you forgot our agreement after becoming the emperor? Li Yun frowned. Agreement? What agreement can I make with her? Damn it. Didn't this be ********** D do anything shameful with this woman in his previous life? Even though this woman is beautiful, you can't sleep with just anyone. What a sin. What a sin. Du Gufeng looked at Li Yun's expression in front of him and his face turned cold. Li Yun, I thought you were a smart person, are you playing dumb in front of me? Who gave you the courage? I can let you sit in this position, but I can also let you get out of this position. I'll give you 3 more days. If you don't bring that thing to me, you can go down and accompany your damn father. Du Gufeng had a grim expression and snorted coldly. Li Yun's body immediately flew backwards, spurted out a mouthful of blood, and fainted. After a long time, Li Yun woke up, shrank slightly, and had a complicated look on his face. What AFK, I thought I became the emperor. When awake, hold the power of the world. When drunk, lie on the lap of a beauty. But why is this a fantasy world? Being an emperor in the fantasy world is a high-risk job, especially in a weak country. Li Yun had been unconscious for a long time, and his consciousness had already integrated the memories of his original body. It turns out this is a place called the Four Extremities Continent. He was in the eastern wilderness of the continent, and it was also a subsidiary area of the eastern wilderness, called the Land of 100 Nations. The Great Qian dynasty was only a lower middle dynasty among the hundreds of countries, with average strength. Of course this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that this is a world of practice. Acquired 9th layer, innate 9th layer, Dao Palace 9 stars, Law Manifestation 9th grade. The Law Manifestation realm is already the peak combat power of the 100 nations. Among the 100 nations, only the 3 most powerful dynasties can surpass the Law Manifestation realm. Weaker dynasties don't even have a Law Manifestation realm. For example, he knew that the strongest fighter in the Great Qian dynasty, General Zanbei Li Tianba, was only at the Dao Palace 9-star realm. He really couldn't say whether Great Qian had a Law Manifestation realm. However, what is certain is that a Law Manifestation realm is already considered a high-end combat force in the Land of 100 Nations. Not to mention these, just the internal problems of the Great Qian dynasty made Li Yun extremely difficult. The palace had long been controlled by the young Empress Dowager, and his adopted father might as well be a puppet. This was why the maids and eunuchs in the palace were extremely respectful to her. In the court, the treacherous Prime Minister Li Linfu controlled the government and colluded with the Empress Dowager. In the Great Qian territory, 3 major vassal kings ruled their own territories, commanded their own troops, and obeyed imperial edicts but not decrees. On the border of Great Qian, the 3 great dynasties were eyeing the territory of Great Qian. Therefore, Great Qian was in chaos and the people were living in misery. When he thought of the agreement with the Queen Mother, Li Yun felt even more sad. A day ago, the Queen Mother secretly visited the prince's residence, intending to have him ascend the throne, and then go to the ancestral mausoleum to get an object in exchange. The predecessor agreed without hesitation. Those short-sighted people deserve to be replaced by me. Li Yun stood up and paced back and forth. The huge bedroom was extremely quiet with no one by his side. Just when Li Yun was still in deep thought, a voice suddenly rang out. Ding. The Invincible sign in system is activated and begins binding with the host. Ding. System binding successful. Host. Li Yun. Closing square bracket. Identity. Emperor of the Great Qian Dynasty. System. Goldfinger is coming. Li Yun's originally nervous mood suddenly relaxed. As we all know, as a transmigrator, only those with a system are destined to be successful. What's the point of playing without a system? System, why don't you introduce yourself? Li Yun asked. At this moment, Li Yun has completely calmed down. The emergence of the system has given him the capital to turn things around and get rid of the Queen Mother's control. I don't know if 3 days is enough, otherwise I will have to find a way to delay it for a few more days. Host, this system has only one function, which is sign in. The host can draw a small sign every day and a large sign every month. The sign-in rewards are random, including cultivation, spirit stone, rare treasures, character summoning cards, legion summoning cards. Small lottery ticket. Large lottery ticket. What's the difference? The difference is that the things you get with a small lottery are of different quality, some are good, some are rubbish, but with a big lottery you will definitely get good things. Hearing the system's answer, Li Yun grinned. The waters of this world are too deep, and only with a system in hand can you control them. Ding. The number of sign-ins for the day has been refreshed. 1 big sign-in and 1 small sign-in. Do you want to sign in? Closing square bracket. The system prompt sounded. Sign in. Li Yun was full of expectations, and he didn't know what good things he could get when he signed in for the first time. If there is a chance to sign a big deal, you will definitely be able to sign something to get out of your current predicament. It is best to sign out your cultivation level, strength is the bottom line. Ding. Signing in. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed in for 500 years of cultivation and have advanced to the law manifestation golden body realm. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed up for a Jinwei faction summoning card. Chapter 2. Summoning the Royal Guards and Lying in Secret. Law Manifestation Golden Body Realm. Li Yun was shocked. Law Manifestation is divided into 9th grade, the first 3rd grade is the Virtual Body Realm, the middle 3 grades is the Real Body Realm, and the last 3rd grade is the Golden Body Realm. Is it so easy for me to reach the Golden Body Realm of Law Manifestation? The peak combat power of the land of 100 nations. However, I signed a contract for 500 years of cultivation, and I have only just reached the Law Manifestation Golden Body Realm. My cultivation aptitude is really useless. Previously, he had acquired the 9th level of cultivation, but it was abolished by the vicious Queen Mother. His predecessor was only concerned about that position and didn't care about it. They did not dare to argue and had to submit to the tyranny of the Queen Mother. Before Li Yun could think too much, a powerful spirit chi poured in from the void and injected into his limbs. His realm is also constantly rising. Acquired a layer. Innate first layer. Dao Palace 1 star. Law Manifestation 1st grade. The final realm remains at Law Manifestation 9th grade. Li Yun even felt that he was almost able to break through that layer of membrane and touch another depth. He was now filled with strength, as if he could punch a hole in the sky above his head with just one punch, and there was an inexplicable aura of oppression in his every move. As soon as the thought came to mind, a grand law manifestation emerged from above Li Yun's head. Appearance is determined by the heart, and everyone's law manifestation is a kind of attitude. Some are animals, some are weapons, and some are even flames and water, but Li Yun's law manifestation is himself. The golden Li Yun floated in the air, illuminating the entire bedroom in gold. Fortunately, the maids and eunuchs in the bedroom were driven away by the Queen Mother to prevent Li Yun from causing any trouble. Otherwise, this phenomenon would definitely be discovered. Incredible power, incredible world of cultivation. Li Yun muttered to himself, and then dispersed his law manifestation. Ding. The host still has a summon card, do you want to use it? When the system's voice sounded, Li Yun remembered the second item he had signed in. Jinwei faction summoning card. Li Yun first checked the attributes of the summoning card. The more he looked at it, the more he couldn't hide the smile in the corner of his eyes. It's like giving me a pillow when I feel sleepy. Although his strength has increased now, as the ruler of a dynasty, he cannot do everything by himself. Some loyal and powerful subordinates are very important. Jinwei Force Summoning Card. The host uses this summoning card to obtain a Jinwei with a quantity of 10,000. Among the 10,000 Jinniwei, there is one Void Refining Initial Commander, 2 Law Manifestation 9th Grade Deputy Commanders, 2 Law Manifestation 6th Grade Tranquilizers, 10 Law Manifestation 3rd Grade 1000 Households, 20 Dao Palace 9 Stars Deputy 1000 Households, 100 Dao Palace 6 Stars 100 Households, 200 Dao Palace 3 Stars Deputy 100 Households, and the rest are at least an 8 ninth layer. Void Refining Realm. Li Yun has learned from the system that after the Law Manifestation Realm is the Void Realm, which is further divided into Void Refining, Empty Void, and Combined Void. Each realm is divided into 4 levels: Early Stage, Middle Stage, Late Stage, and Perfect Stage. Unexpectedly, they directly recruited masters from the Void Refining Realm, more than 10 masters from the Law Manifestation Realm, and hundreds of people from the Dao Palace Realm. If such a force were to be used outside, it would probably shock hundreds of countries. Great Qian is only one step away from reaching the pinnacle of the 100 nations. With just one word from him, wouldn't the kingdom or dynasty be eager to send the princesses and concubines to its own bedroom? But Li Yun was not prepared to expose the existence of the Jinniwei so early. The water on the 4 extremities continent is very deep. This is just the most remote eastern wilderness on the continent. And it is the land of 100 countries, one level below eastern wilderness. There are definitely practitioners in this world who are far beyond the Law Manifestation realm. Even the virtual realm is an ant. There might be some Taoists living in seclusion here. If I attract the attention of those old villains, my life will be difficult. Li Yun looked around. This was the Imperial Palace. There were many masters inside. 10,000 people was a bit too large. Even with his own cover, his aura might leak out. System, where will the character summoned by the summoning card land? The summoned card character will descend within 100 miles of the host, and then report to the host. The host just needs to wait. Okay, then summon me. A completely black card suddenly appeared in front of Li Yun. As Li Yun finished speaking, it turned into a wisp of smoke and merged into the space. The next moment, Li Yun turned his gaze to the east, where several swift auras rose into the sky. Li Yun's mouth corners slightly raised. He knew that his Jinniwei had appeared. It is 30 miles away from Qiandu. Because of the system's concealment, he is probably the only one who can feel this breath. In less than half a cup of tea, a powerful aura appeared in the palace. Your Majesty, your servant Ji Yuan is here to pay his respects. A man in black knelt in front of Li Yun, exuding a powerful aura in his every move. Era, commander of the Imperial Guards, early stage of void refining. Get up. Li Yun smiled. Produced by the system, loyalty is full and there is absolutely no such thing as betrayal. Ji Yuan stood up and leaned forward and said, Your Majesty, all the Jinniwei are waiting for your orders. Li Yun nodded slightly. The situation in the 100 Kingdoms is complicated. The Jinniwei cannot show themselves in public for the time being. You should stay dormant for the time being, hiding in the dark, monitoring the officials and major forces in Qiandu. In addition, send some people from the 6 prefectures. There are several people who need to be observed closely. Prime Minister Li Linfu. The Minister of Revenue, Zhang Yu. Sun Ce, the Minister of War. The eldest prince, Li Chengqin. Prince Ning, Li Chengwan. Quote. Li Yun mentioned a series of names, all of whom were important officials of the country, and each of them was a figure sitting at the top of the Great Qian Temple. I obey your order. Ji Yuan bowed respectfully and then left the bedroom. Li Yun slept very soundly that night. On the second day, still no one came to take care of Li Yun's daily life. Li Yun used his spiritual sense to detect and found that there was still no servant around the bedroom. And inside the Golden Palace, the morning court session had already begun. It was the first time in the history of the Great Qian Kingdom that there was no emperor's morning court. Even if the emperor was busy and had no time to attend the morning court, he would order people to cancel the morning court. But today, there was no one sitting on the dragon throne. Behind the dragon throne, a curtain fell, and a slender figure could be vaguely seen sitting on the phoenix chair, looking down on all officials. His Majesty did not come out, and the Empress Dowager was behind the curtain, which caused some uproar among the officials. Eunuch Zhao, the time for the morning court session has arrived. May I ask where His Majesty is? An old man in a red official robe, the third seat from the left, walked out and asked. Chief Censor, Ding Yu. At the side of the dragon throne, the chief eunuch Zhao Gao, holding a whisk, glanced behind him, then took a step forward and read out. Your Majesty is so happy to have ascended to the throne that he is seriously ill and cannot get up. He is recuperating in the palace and cannot attend the morning court for 3 days. However, Your Majesty feels that the affairs of the Great Qian are complicated and cannot be ignored. He has ordered that the Queen Mother govern the country from behind the curtain, with Prime Minister Li as his assistant. The two of them can discuss state affairs. As soon as these words were spoken, all the officials began to whisper to each other in an uproar. Ding Yu snorted coldly. Humph. The Great Qian has been established for more than 1,000 years, and there has never been a woman in charge of government. If Your Majesty is ill, you can rest for a few days and suspend the court meetings. I am afraid that some people will take advantage of your young age and do something rebellious. The Golden Palace suddenly became silent. Several officials who had a close personal relationship with Ding Yu looked worried. This old man is so brave. The late emperor passed away yesterday, and old Ding wanted to go to the palace to meet him, but was carried back by the imperial guards. Today he is even more blunt. Isn't this accusing the Queen Mother and Li Shang of conspiracy? Sure enough, Li Linfu, who was at the top of all officials, glanced at Ding Yu, and then looked behind him. Immediately an official came out. I, the Minister of Personnel, Zhang Zheng, have something to report. I report under my real name that the chief censor Ding Yu formed a clique to run private businesses, accepted bribes, and framed loyal officials. I hope the Queen Mother and Prime Minister Li will investigate. Ding Yu was furious. He glared at Zhang Zheng and shouted, Zhang Zheng, you are framing me. Everyone knows that you are a student of Prime Minister Li. How can His Majesty listen to you alone? I, Yang Niu, the Minister of the Ministry of Revenue, report the Imperial censor under my real name. I, Wu Ma, the Assistant Minister of the Ministry of Justice, report the Imperial censor under my real name. Quote. More than 10 people stood up in a row. This scene made Ding Yu's eyes go dark and he almost fell down. Li Linfu sneered and walked out. Imperial censor Ding, one person was framed, but are all these officials of Great Qian framing you? Empress Dowager, I suggest that the Imperial censor be detained first and dealt with later when your Majesty is able to handle state affairs. Yes. A faint voice came from behind the curtain. Li Yun, who was living in the palace, saw this farce clearly. Chapter 3. The Turbulent Qiandu. Censor Ding was forcibly suppressed. Not only him, but several other officials were also taken down through a joint petition during the following morning court session. All officials felt insecure, fearing that they would be the next one. Li Yun sat in the bedroom and watched coldly from beginning to end. The several officials who were arrested did not take sides. There are several other princes in Qiandu, and they should also be eyeing his position. But he was not as quick as that vicious woman and Li Shang, who allowed him to sit in this position first. The next thing should be the competition between these princes and Li Shangzhan. With the Jinyue in control of the entire situation, all you have to do is sit in the courtyard and watch from the sidelines. All kinds of evildoers will naturally jump out, and you can catch them all in one fell swoop. No one came to deliver breakfast today. Li Yun guessed that the vicious woman would not let anyone come within 3 days. But he didn't care. Law manifestation realm allows one to fast and not feel hungry even if one does not eat for 10 years. After these 2 days, it is time to decide who will own this imperial city. Those princes are definitely not simple people. Even if they are willing to let the throne be controlled by Prime Minister Li and the Queen Mother, the people behind them will not agree. But after these few days, when Prime Minister Li and the Queen Mother cleaned up the government and the country, they lost their last chance. Therefore, in the next 2 days, they will definitely try every possible means to fight and grab. This is probably why the Queen Mother gave herself 3 days. She also needs to deal with these things wholeheartedly during these 3 days. Today's sign-in times have been refreshed, but I don't know what I can get from signing in. Li Yun sat cross-legged on the bed, thinking secretly in his heart. Ding. It is detected that the host has one sign-in opportunity. Do you want to sign in? Sign in. Li Yun ordered. Ding. Signing in. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed in with 3 realm-breaking pills. Realm-breaking pill. Ignoring the shackles of realms, one can directly break through 3 small realms below the law manifestation golden body realm. Good stuff. Li Yun was in a particularly good mood as he felt the 3 extra pills in the system space. Although he can't use it, he can give it as a reward to his subordinates. 3 realm-breaking pills. Is this a pill? No. This is the law manifestation realm. At the same time, the entire Qiandu was completely boiling. In just 1 day, the least famous 3rd prince of Great Qian was canonized as the crown prince. Before people could come to their senses, the emperor passed away. The prince ascended to the position before the news of the emperor's death had spread outside the city. It can be said that the people of Great Qian were even more surprised than the parties involved. How could it be? The 3rd prince has no roots in Great Qian, and even his deceased mother was from a small family. How could he be canonized as the crown prince? Wang Mazi, your news is too late. Did you know that His Majesty has passed away? Li Si, you want to show off what you know. The 3rd prince has taken the throne, so you should call him your Majesty from now on. Humph. How can the succession of the throne be treated as such a joke? The 3rd prince is neither good at literature nor martial arts. There must be something fishy going on here. Oh, Yuan Fang, what do you think about this? Me. Of course I'll just pour a cup of tea and sit back and watch. The waters there are very deep. You and I are just common people. If you dare to criticize His Majesty, be careful of the disaster. Whether in the inns, restaurants, or on the streets, everyone was talking about this matter. Even a country bumpkin would know that there was definitely something wrong here. They don't know which specific forces are at play, but they know that the world of Great Qian is about to change. A bloody storm might be about to happen. By then, the ground will be covered with corpses and devastation, and Great Qian will be on the verge of collapse. After the morning court, all the officials got on their own carriages and headed towards different places. Eventually, some of the carriages will meet and head to the same destination. Grand Tutor's Mansion. Among the three dukes of the Great Qian today, the positions of Grand Tutor and Grand Protector have been vacant for many years. In the court, only the Grand Tutor could compete with Prime Minister Li. The Grand Master has not attended the morning court for several years, but his disciples still occupy a large part of the court. The horse traffic jam at the gate of the Grand Tutor's mansion was dozens of meters long. Several officials got out of their cars and walked, looking very anxious. In the Grand Tutor's mansion, Grand Tutor Gongsun Li stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the mural in front of him. Master Grand Tutor, what should we do now? Prime Minister Li and the Queen Mother have already begun to eliminate dissidents, and Lao Ding and his men have been imprisoned. Several officials surrounded him, chattering non-stop. Gongsun Li also had a worried look on his face. These people have been loyal to your majesty from beginning to end, just like Ding Yu and his companions. However, Ding Yu and his companions have always been solitary and never get close to anyone. This is not the way for officials. Now that his majesty has suddenly met with misfortune, Gongsun Li also knows that something is fishy, but the situation developed too quickly and he has not yet reacted. The current emperor is controlled by the Queen Mother and Prime Minister Li, and he has no better solution. Now, there are only two paths to take. Gongsun Li sighed. Which two roads? An official immediately asked. Although Prime Minister Li supported the third prince to ascend the throne, there are still several princes in the capital who will not be willing to hand over the throne to others. You can choose a prince to join, but if you fail, death will only be the lightest punishment. A few people in the hall were interested, but most of them just shook their heads. The late emperor had 6 princes and princesses, minus the third prince, there were 5 left. Among these 5 people, princesses 4 and 6 will not be mentioned for now. The eldest prince is kind and righteous, but also rather Buddhist. If the third prince had not succeeded to the throne, he would be the only candidate for the throne of the emperor. However, now, it may be difficult. The second prince is good at fighting, and there are many generals in the military who support him. The fifth prince is insidious, the most secretive, but also the most vicious. It seems that everyone has some hope, but if you look more closely, the hope is not great. All this is because of a person in the Prime Minister's office, a law manifestation realm. The most powerful person in Great Qian, General Zanbei Li Tianba, is only a Dao Palace 9-star. Therefore, this law manifestation realm is a sword hanging over the heads of all officials. None of the major powers nor the Prince's Palace have revealed the existence of the law manifestation realm. Without the law manifestation realm finale, who the hell would dare to take sides? This is the business of the Yiju clan. Gongsun Li looked at everyone's reactions and shook his head slightly. The second way is to wait. When Prime Minister Li wins, we will either be dismissed from office or only one of us will die. This should not implicate the family. Or maybe one of the princes wins by chance, and we still have a chance to keep our hats, or at least our lives. Everyone suddenly realized what was happening and looked up to the Grand Tutor with awe. Your Excellency, Grand Master, your insight is profound. Thank you very much for your guidance. Thank you, Grand Master. Master Grand Tutor, what about the third prince, the current emperor? Is there any possibility that he? One of the 5 clerks said something, but before he finished, he saw that everyone was looking at him strangely, as if he were a fool. He then shook his head and smiled awkwardly. You dare not even make up a story like this to imagine that the third prince, who has mediocre qualifications and no foundation, will have the last laugh and sit securely on the throne. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 4. Shallow Water, Many Turtles. Prime Minister's Mansion. Li Linfu was sitting alone when a beautiful figure suddenly appeared in the hall. The Empress Dowager should be in the harem. If someone sees her coming to my Li mansion, she will be criticized. Li Linfu didn't even open his eyes, but he had already recognized the person in front of him. Du Gufeng rolled up her phoenix robe, sat aside, and said disdainfully, Great Qiandu, who can see through me? Prime Minister Li, with your cultivation level, why don't you cut the Gordian knot and take down the princes and the old man, the Grand Tutor? Then, Qiandu will be in our hands. This will waste my time. Li Linfu opened his eyes and glanced at the idiot woman next to him with disdain. If it was such a simple matter, why would he make such a big fuss? As expected, Mr. X is brainless and thinks he can do whatever he wants just because of his strong background. However, he still needs to rely on the other party's strength and power. My queen, Great Qian is not as simple as it seems. The princes are not easy to deal with. Moreover, Great Qian cannot cause chaos. The old immortals in the Imperial mausoleum will not sit idly by. Although they can't compare to the forces behind you, if you bother the forces behind you to take action, your business will be ruined, right? Li Linfu explained earnestly. Du Gufeng's face also changed after hearing this. She has an assessment mission to complete. If she still needs the sect's help, then it will be a problem of personal ability, and her reputation in the sect will definitely be greatly reduced. It's all because of that old immortal. Before he died, he set a trap for me and sent the jade seal to the Imperial mausoleum. Otherwise, I would have taken the dragon chi from it and returned to the sect to report. Prime Minister Li, you have 3 days. If you can't solve it within 3 days, I will forcefully take action. By then, it won't be up to me to decide whether Great Qian exists or not. Du Gufeng snorted coldly and left. Li Linfu watched the figure leave coldly, revealing a hint of mockery and a hint of murderous intent. The late emperor was so bewitched by this woman, how could he possibly know to bring the jade seal to the Imperial mausoleum? This was of course a plan set by himself, otherwise this woman would have run away with Great Qian's luck long ago. Once Great Qian's luck is gone, I'm afraid the dynasty will cease to exist. I hope the princes can behave themselves for 2 days. After today, they should come back. Then who will be the emperor of Great Qian will depend on his ability. The Grand Prince's palace. Li Chengqin, dressed in Confucian robes, stood in the pavilion in the middle of the lake with his hands folded, quietly watching the fish fighting for food. All the officials who came to visit him from last night to this morning were sent back by him. He did not meet any of them. He just told them to try not to go out and just wait. Your Highness, are we just going to wait like this? There must be some hidden reason behind the death of the previous emperor. The third prince ascended the throne, and Li Shang and the Queen Mother controlled the government. This is a disaster for the Great Qian. Who among the princes is more qualified than you to take that position? The person who spoke was the commander of the guards in the eldest prince's palace, and he had been the eldest prince's personal bodyguard since he was a child. The eldest prince continued to look at the fish in the water. After a long while, he said, Commander Zhang, when these fish were fighting for food, did they know that someone was watching them on the shore? And is there someone watching you and me from afar? Commander Zhang was a little confused. Your Highness, it's already this hour and you're still playing dumb with me. The eldest prince waved his hand. Stand down. The message I told you to pass on to the ministers is also for you. Wait, in the end, nothing else matters. The most important thing is to have a big fist. The second prince's mansion. From time to time, people in armor came and went, and they did not shy away at all. Among the 4 major camps guarding Qiandu, 2 generals openly supported the second prince. At this moment, General Nangong Zheng of the Shenji camp and General Jia Quan of the Hubao camp were beside the second prince. Second prince, we have to do something extraordinary in the current situation. The third prince is obviously a puppet. We should dispatch troops into the city, purge his entourage, and execute the corrupt officials. Nangong Zheng spoke with a ruthless look on his face. Yes, second prince, after this happened, the princes will definitely not sit idly by. If the dispute over the throne is not resolved quickly, I'm afraid that Great Qian will go to war. Please make a decision as soon as possible for the people of Great Qian. Li Qian was wearing plain clothes, but it still couldn't hide his muscular body. He kept tapping the table with his right hand, as if thinking about the feasibility of this matter. Your Highness, indecision will only lead to more trouble. Yes, Your Highness, time is running out and we can't wait any longer. After hearing this, Li Qian stood up suddenly with a cold expression. If third brother can ascend to this position with his own strength, I will certainly congratulate him, but the treacherous ministers and the evil queen are in power, and they must be eliminated. Since the generals are worried about our Great Qian, how can I, Li Qian, retreat? Everyone, speed is of the essence in war. The time is set at midnight tonight. Follow me to eliminate the treacherous ministers and kill the evildoers. From tonight on, you will all be my loyal subjects and your names will be recorded in the history books of our Great Qian. Yes, Your Highness. All the generals were delighted and went back to prepare for the uprising. Li Qian was left alone, deep in thought, muttering to himself. Fifth brother, you are not willing to be inferior to others. What will you do? At this time, his fifth brother, the fifth prince Li Qingxing, quietly left the prince's mansion without anyone knowing. Spring Breeze Tower. The name sounds like a restaurant, but it is actually a brothel, the most famous brothel in Qiandu. But few people know that the master behind this brothel is Li Qingxing, the fifth prince of Great Qian. At this moment, Li Qingxing was sitting on the 5th floor of Chunfeng Tower. There is only one room on the 5th floor of Chunfeng Tower, and that is the room of Shuiyu, the courtesan of Chunfeng Tower. Since the establishment of Chunfeng Tower, no one has ever been heard of being able to enter this room. Whether it is a high-ranking official or a wealthy young man who spends money lavishly. The fifth prince has come here to discuss the fate of the throne. The courtesan Shuiyu was sitting next to Li Qingxing, pouring a glass of wine. Chunfeng Tower belongs to Li Qingxing, but the courtesan in Chunfeng Tower may not be Li Qingxing's. Li Qingxing picked up the wine glass and shook it, then shook his head and said, "It's too small, too small." Shuiyu was a little confused. "What's smaller?" "The pattern is too small. The throne is within my reach. I will just let my third brother sit on it for a few days. My sights are not on the 100 kingdoms, but the entire eastern wilderness." Li Qingxing's gaze seemed to pass through the attic, beyond Great Qian, and look at the 4 seas and 8 wildernesses. Shuiyu was speechless. "It's just a hidden law manifestation realm, look at what you can do. Also set your sights on the entire eastern wilderness. It is still unclear whether you can defeat the old guy in the prime minister's mansion. Then why did you come to see me, your highness?" Li Qingxing looked over with a smile. "Although I am aiming for the eastern wilderness, the timing is not right now and I don't want to attract too much attention. I will leave the vicious woman in the harem to you to deal with, so as to avoid the Yin-Yang sect tracking her down, which would be a troublesome matter." Shuiyu's face changed. "Fifth prince, do you want me to die? I finally escaped from Yin-Yang sect, there is no way I can help you deal with Yin-Yang sect." At the same time, a fierce aura emanated from her, and a golden vine emerged from above her head, and huge pressure swept towards Li Qingxing. However, Li Qingxing remained unmoved. This tremendous pressure had no effect on him at all. "Miss Fengyu, are you going to break up with me? You are very strong, but if the Yin-Yang sect knew that the saintess who defected from Dao sect is here, I wonder how they would feel. How is that possible? Your golden body hasn't even been cast yet, how can you withstand my pressure?" Fengyu looked at Li Qingxing in disbelief. Li Qingxing didn't say much to him. He drank the wine in the glass and disappeared in a flash, leaving only a few words. "The Yin-Yang sect has many enemies, but there is only one saintess who defected. Think about which one will draw the greatest wrath from the Yin-Yang sect." Fengyu slapped the table in front of him, smashing it to pieces, with a look of uncertainty on his face. At this time, Li Qingxing had already returned to the mansion. As soon as he closed the door, his face turned pale. There was a piece of black tortoise shell in his hand, and a faint crack was visible on it. Damn it, a tiger in trouble is bullied by a dog. How dare a mere law manifestation 9th grade bully me? Back then, the law manifestation realm wasn't even worthy of carrying my shoes. Li Qingxing was quite angry, and his aura weakened. One day passed quickly. In the evening, Ji Yuan came to the palace again and reported on the situation in Qiandu today. As a strong man in the void refining realm, everything that happened in the city might be hidden from Li Yun, but it could not escape Ji Yuan's perception. Even the conversations between many princes and ministers were presented in detail. In this regard, Li Yun could only sigh. There are so many turtles in such shallow water. There is another Yinbi behind the Yinbi. However, although this second brother looks reckless, he is also a man of great wisdom. His vision is still a little low. Chapter 5. The Shocked Second Prince. The sky is about to darken, and a bloody storm is about to arise in this brilliant Qiandu. The 30,000 soldiers of the Shenji camp and the 50,000 soldiers of the Hubao camp, which are based 10 miles outside Qiancheng, have already set out. Soon, the troops arrived at the city. The movement of 80,000 people is no small feat. It woke up most of the residents in the city. Many forces in the city watched this scene coldly. Leading troops into the capital without the emperor's edict is a serious crime of treason. But the situation in Qiandu was complicated at this time, and their target was only Li Shang. All parties were also watching how Li Shang would respond. After all, there are only more than 10,000 Imperial guards in the city. How can they resist the elite soldiers of Great Qian? Even with the law manifestation realm, it would be difficult to reverse the situation when facing 80,000 elite soldiers. The one in charge of guarding the East City Gate was Bu Fan, the third commander of the Imperial Guards, who had already joined Li Zhang's party. Looking at the dark mass below the city, Bu Fan sneered, took a step forward and shouted downwards. "Who are you under the city? How dare you lead the troops privately? This is a crime punishable by the death of all 9 generations of your clan. Return to the camp now. There is still room for maneuver." In response, he was met with a streaking arrow that shot off his helmet. The general of the Shenjiying, Nangong Zheng, is a sharpshooter at the Dao Palace 8th grade level. Bu Fan had just arrived at Palace 5th grade and had no time to react. "This arrow hit your helmet, and the next one will be your head. Bu Fan, open the city gates and follow me to purge the emperor and punish the corrupt officials, and give our great Qian a peaceful and prosperous world." "Impossible. Your Majesty has just ascended the throne, so there are no sycophants here. I think you are just planning a rebellion. Today, there is absolutely no way you can step into the city gate. No rush, I'll give you half an hour. After half an hour, I will start attacking the city. No matter the casualties." Nangong Zheng said loudly, and then actually started waiting on the spot. At this time, Li Shang and the Queen Mother had secretly arrived at the East Gate. The many onlookers were also puzzled. Now is a good time to attack the city. An army of 80,000 can easily defeat more than 1,000 defenders, and then they can march straight into the palace. But no one expected that they would wait there. Even Li Shang frowned. He had anticipated this situation long ago and had made arrangements. Once the 80,000 troops entered Qiandu, they would be able to take it down in one fell swoop. But who would have thought that they were actually waiting outside the city? Du Gufeng was getting a little impatient. Prime Minister Li, there are only 80,000 people. You and I, plus those hidden soldiers, can quickly kill them. Why worry? Li Linfu was a little annoyed. This woman really had no brains at all. If we take the initiative to attack, can it still be called an ambush? How many people will be lost? Besides, these were all Great Qian's soldiers, and he didn't want to watch his own people killing each other. Moreover, if the two of them took action, how would they explain the Queen Mother's identity? Qiandu must have the law manifestation realm hiding there. If you are not careful, you will also fall into the ditch. It doesn't matter if I turn over, but this woman must not turn over, otherwise the big guy behind her will come and Great Qian won't be able to withstand it. Suddenly, Li Zhang's expression changed and he looked towards the direction of the palace. No, they are making a feint to the east and attacking in the west. The second prince has gone to the palace. Your Majesty is in danger. Li Linfu was a little anxious. Among the royal princes, the third prince is the easiest to control. No matter how chaotic the Great Qian is, or how the throne changes, the person in this position must be surnamed Li, the Li of the royal family. This is also the reason why he must support a prince to ascend the throne. But if the third prince dies, the other princes will definitely not be controlled by this woman. This woman will definitely cause trouble, and if we are not careful, Great Qian will collapse. I originally thought that the second prince was just a reckless man, but I didn't expect that he was also a smart man. Although he had arranged guards in the palace, the second prince must have the confidence to do so. The few Dao Palace 9-star realm cultivators that I trained are probably in danger. At the same time, a huge aura erupted in the central imperial city of Qiandu. Many cultivators in the city were suddenly shocked. Law Manifestation Realm. The second prince. The second prince is actually the Law Manifestation Realm. In the eldest prince's mansion, the eldest prince put down the book in his study. If you have courage, you can be a general, but it's hard to be an emperor. In the fifth prince's residence, the fifth prince looked in the direction of the imperial palace and narrowed his eyes. My dear second brother, since you have made a move, I will let you sit on my throne for a few days. Many ministers began to regret that the second prince was actually the law manifestation realm. Why didn't they choose the second prince before? Otherwise, the second prince would be promoted to a high position overnight, and I would be his loyal minister, with a promising future. Some people have already started preparing gifts, which will be sent to the second prince's residence early tomorrow morning as a token of their sincerity. At this moment, in the inner courtyard of the imperial palace, the second prince, dressed in shining armor, appeared outside Li Yun's bedroom. He held a blood-stained knife in his hand, and blood was still dripping from it. Behind him, out of sight, several bodies were piled up in a pile, and blood flowed like a stream. Third brother, I won't kill you, but you have sat on the throne long enough, it's time for me to feel it. Great Qian will surely recreate its former glory in my hands. Li Qian whispered, then glanced towards the east and frowned slightly. There were two auras coming quickly from there. There are two law manifestation realms. But it doesn't matter, they can't kill me. Li Qian was full of confidence and was about to step into the bedroom. The next moment, a breeze blew gently, and Li Qian's face showed horror, and his figure disappeared instantly. When he opened his eyes again, he had entered the bedroom, but he was kneeling. A familiar face in front of him was looking at him with a smile. There was another man in black next to him. His aura was not noticeable, but Li Qian felt an inexplicable pressure. Second brother, long time no see. How come you are holding a knife and covered in blood after finally meeting me? Li Yun looked at Li Qian with a smile. Humph. You can kill me or chop me up, it's all up to you. I just didn't expect you to be so well hidden, you've fooled everyone in the world. Don't be disrespectful to His Majesty. A loud shout came from the side. A powerful pressure directly forced Li Qian to lie on the ground. His bones creaked and the ground was sunken a little. Ji Yuan, stop. Why are they all my brothers? I have to meet two guests later. Isn't this a loss of face for the Great Qian royal family? Li Yun stopped Ji Yuan's pressure and supported Li Qian with one hand, and Li Qian stood up. Li Qian's face was filled with shock. What did he feel? What's with this law manifestation golden body aura coming from my third brother? I originally thought that he just secretly recruited a powerful subordinate. He never imagined that his younger brother, whose aptitude was so poor that he could not even reach the law manifestation realm, and even the pinnacle of the law manifestation realm. Li Qian smiled bitterly. He lost this battle. However, if he had not been defeated by Li Linfu and that vicious woman, it would still be acceptable. How can a descendant of the Great Qian royal family lose to an outsider? Chapter 6. Substituting one thing for another. Li Linfu and the other man who were rushing back suddenly felt something was wrong. Why did the second prince's aura disappear? Did the second prince kill the third prince and then left in hiding? Du Gufeng said. Li Linfu frowned, it shouldn't be possible. If I were the second prince, after killing the third prince, I would just wait for us there. Let's not talk about this for now. You'll know when you get to the palace. Inside the bedroom, Li Yun was still thinking. He originally planned to fish for a few more days, but according to the information from Epoch Times investigation, the eldest prince had no intention of taking action at all, and no one knew whether he had any interest in this position. Moreover, according to Jiwan's detection, this eldest prince is not simple and has hidden his cultivation. The fifth prince also has problems. He is at the third grade level of law manifestation, but he was able to forcibly advance to the sixth grade level of law manifestation, and he can also withstand the pressure of the ninth grade level of law manifestation. He must have a secret. The Jinyue are all in place, and everything in Qiandu is under control. I'll give Li Shang and that vicious woman a surprise later. After we capture them, if Lao Wu still doesn't take action, then don't even think about taking any action in the future. Suddenly, his expression changed and he looked outside the door, where two powerful auras appeared. Li Linfu and that vicious woman are back. The door shattered. Two figures suddenly rushed in. Has the third prince already? Boom. Boom. Before the voice could finish, there were two loud roars. There were two kneeling figures on the floor of the bedroom. Li Linfu and Du Gufeng both looked horrified. What was that smell just now? Void refining realm. How could there be a virtual world in a land of just 100 countries? They are not people who have never seen the world. Du Gufeng is from the Eastern Wilderness sect. Although the void realm is rare, there are still quite a few in the sect. Who are you? Let me go right now. If anything happens to me, someone from the sect will come to investigate. By then, not to mention that you are in the void realm, even if you are at a higher level, you will not be able to escape the hunt by our sect. Du Gufeng looked at Ji Yuan and said angrily. She could feel that the virtual world was this person. Ji Yuan ignored it all and stood respectfully aside. No one except His Majesty could give him orders. At this time, the two of them noticed Li Yun standing in front of them. Li Linfu's gaze stayed on the two of them for a moment, and an incredible idea came to his mind. This virtual realm cultivator was actually somewhat respectful to Li Yun. Is this reasonable? Such a useless prince. Such a useless emperor. Your Majesty, how do you plan to deal with us? Li Linfu asked tentatively. Since the virtual world exists, no matter how many plans he has, they are all in vain. Originally, he was confident that even if all the princes and ministers took action, he could suppress it. No matter how many unexpected events occur, they will not affect the final result. However, in a virtual world, all plans are in vain. Du Gufeng looked at Li Linfu with a puzzled look on his face. Li Linfu, are you crazy? How can the useless prince we helped to raise up have the right to punish us? Li Linfu was speechless. What a lack of tact. I don't know what the Yin-Yang sect is doing with all this trash. It's just a body. Li Yun listened to Li Linfu's words and nodded secretly. The Jinyue found something in the secret room of his residence. This person has broad vision and plans 10 steps ahead before taking one step. He is a capable man. But speaking of Great Qian, it's really not that simple. Originally, he really thought that the strongest person in Great Qian was General Li Tianba, the Northern Guardian. Even if there is a hidden law manifestation, it will not appear easily, or it will wait to die in the imperial tomb like those immortal old people in the royal family. But I didn't expect that all the royal children were masters of the law manifestation realm, and they were all very young. If these law manifestation realms can be of one mind, Great Qian will probably become the dominant force in the land of 100 nations. However, as the old saying goes, people are afraid of being famous just as pigs are afraid of being fat. If Great Qian really grows stronger, I am afraid the crises will outweigh the opportunities. Now on the surface it is just a medium-sized dynasty in the land of hundreds of countries, but there are disciples of the law manifestation realm sect like Du Gufeng who come to steal the national destiny. If it becomes stronger, there will be stronger ones. Therefore, Li Yun decided not to expand rashly if he did not have sufficient power. Store up food and slowly become king. Once you are strong enough, you will surprise everyone. After thinking about it, Li Yun slapped Du Gufeng in the face. 5 finger marks instantly appeared on her pretty face, and her 2 front teeth were knocked out. Li Yun, you be asterisk 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 D, how dare you hit me? Du Gufeng glared at Li Yun with a ferocious look on his face. How dare you insult His Majesty? You shall be beheaded. Ji Yuan frowned, and Du Gufeng spat out a mouthful of blood. Blood seeped into every pore of his body, dyeing the entire phoenix robe red. Ji Yuan's move completely answered Li Linfu's doubts. It turns out that this powerful void realm expert really obeys Li Yun. Moreover, the moment Li Yun took action just now, he felt that Li Yun's realm was not low, otherwise, he would not be able to break Du Gufeng's defense at all, let alone knock out 2 of her teeth. Du Gufeng also came to his senses at this time and understood the meaning of Li Linfu's words just now. Their lives were not in the hands of that powerful Void Realm expert, but in the hands of the Emperor who they thought they could control at will. Prime Minister Li, I do have some questions. You are a high-ranking official. You should know that no matter how many schemes you have, Great Qian can only be named Li, the royal family's Li. Why do you still do this? Li Yun looked at Li Linfu, somewhat puzzled. Although he knew some things, he did not understand Li Zhang's intention. Li Linfu smiled bitterly. Since Li Yun had subordinates in the Void Realm, all the arrangements he had made before would certainly not be hidden from them. Your Majesty, I have no choice but to do all this. Oh, Li Yun was a little surprised. My old name is not Li, but Linfu. I was poor when I was young and almost starved to death at home. I met the late emperor by chance, who taught me calligraphy and gave me the surname Li. He brought me to Qiandu, and when I was 20 years old, I entered the court. Since then, I have been an official for 90 years, in order to use what I have learned to develop and expand Great Qian. Yes, Li Linfu is over 100 years old. Officials in the court have been replaced one after another, but Li Linfu is still standing. At that time, Great Qian was an extremely powerful dynasty in the land of 100 kingdoms. The previous emperor worked hard to govern the country. He was extremely talented and was just one step away from entering the Void Realm. When we were talking as king and minister, the previous emperor said that after he entered the Void Realm, he would lead Great Qian out of the land of 100 kingdoms. This place was too small and too remote. He wanted to establish an immortal dynasty in the eastern wilderness. However, things did not go as planned. That day was the day of the void-shattering realm of the first emperor. The whole country was celebrating, but a disaster suddenly struck. A young strong man from a sect suddenly broke into Great Qian, severed the meridians of the first emperor with one palm, and said that the land of the 100 nations could only break into the void-shattering realm with their permission. Before leaving, he also extracted most of the national fortune of Great Qian. The previous emperor's future was cut off, and he died of depression soon after. Great Qian also went from bad to worse. Now it has become a country of feudal lords, civil strife and displacement. But at least Great Qian still exists. No matter how chaotic it is, as long as the Great Qian exists, it's good. This is the Great Qian of the late emperor, and I must protect it well. When Li Linfu said this, a trace of reminiscence flashed on his face. However, a month ago, she came. Li Linfu looked at Du Gufeng with hatred. I could tell at a glance that her aura was similar to those who appeared 80 years ago. They must be from the same sect. When I knew that she was here to take half of my Great Qian's luck, I realized that they were disciples of the Yin-Yang sect. The land of the 100 kingdoms was like slaves to their sect, like low-grade people. Given the current situation of Great Qian, half of the country's fortune has been lost. Within 3 years, it will be destroyed. She is only at the 3rd grade of law manifestation. Great Qian has me, and there is also a law manifestation realm in the Imperial mausoleum, so she dare not act rashly. But this is not a long-term solution after all. If she does not return, sooner or later Yin-Yang sect will send another strong person, and Great Qian will not be able to bear it. So I deceived her, sneaked into the harem, and seduced the late emperor, so that I could steal half of the luck. I communicated my plan to the late emperor in advance, and he agreed. Then I erased his memory. 2 days ago, I secretly sent the jade seal to the Imperial mausoleum, but I didn't expect that this vicious woman would actually kill the late emperor. I was grief-stricken, but I knew it was not the time to vent my anger, so I found a way to make you the crown prince, and then helped you to the throne. After all, only Emperor Qian can go to the Imperial mausoleum to take the jade seal. As long as we can get through today, I can give her a brand new jade seal, but that is not good luck for my country. Li Yun was silent for a moment, and then he understood. The embroidered uniform guards discovered a secret room in his mansion, which contained a large amount of information, recording most of Li Linfu's secrets. Including the 9 law manifestation realms he secretly trained. The strongest one has even reached law manifestation 9th grade. A month ago, they disappeared and went to 9 countries separately. Then over the past month, the national fortunes of the 9 countries have declined. Substituting one thing for another is just to protect the Great Qian Junction. Chapter 7. The hesitant 5th prince, the court meeting begins, and the shocked officials. Du Gufeng, lying on the ground, was shocked at first, and then became angry and humiliated. You old thief, you have been deceiving me from the beginning to the end. Li Linfu spat at Du Gufeng and said angrily, you treat the people of the country like pigs and dogs, keeping them in a pen. Let alone deceiving you, even if I cut you into pieces, it would not ease the hatred in my heart. Oh. Li Yun sighed, then waved his hand to remove the pressure from Li Linfu and looked at the second prince next to him. Second brother, how do you feel? Li Qian had a complicated expression, and then bowed deeply to Li Linfu. Prime Minister Li, I just realized today that you have so much on your shoulders. Please forgive me for any way Qian has offended you before. Li Linfu slightly turned sideways to avoid the salute from the second prince. Second prince, you are embarrassing me. Originally, in my plan, if you princes really wanted to fight for this position, I would have no choice but to kill you. No matter how noble your fate is, in my eyes, you are still not as good as the common people of Great Qian and Great Qian. Li Qian de Pai La Pai Zui. That's what he said, but why does it sound so unpleasant coming from this old guy? While the emperor and his ministers were talking inside the palace, people outside the palace continued to pay attention to what was happening in the palace. The fifth prince looked towards the direction of the imperial palace with a gloomy expression. The second law manifestation realm went in, and then two more law manifestation realms went in, and yet nothing happened. That doesn't make sense. Your Highness, why don't you come in and take a look? I can ensure your safety. A figure suddenly appeared beside him. It was Shuiyu from Chunfeng Tower. The fifth prince said nothing, just stared ahead. Even if his cultivation had not recovered, but in this remote land of 100 countries, no one could defeat him unless he came out of the Void Realm. And except for the Yin-Yang sect, the Void Realm could not exist in the land of 100 countries. However, the imperial palace under the darkness was like a man-eating tiger, opening its mouth wide and waiting for the next lucky person. He actually retreated a little. The once famous demon venerable in the eastern wilderness, an existence beyond the virtual realm, actually hesitated in front of a small mortal imperial palace and dared not enter. The Grand Prince's palace. The eldest prince has walked out of the study and his eyes are fixed on the fifth prince's palace. The demonic energy is overwhelming, hesitating and unable to move forward, and is of no use. Then he looked towards the imperial palace, with a hint of solemnity in his eyes. Shrouded in fog, no luck, no secrets revealed, is it my third brother? Or is it some other existence? The night passed quickly. Li Yun did not wait for the fifth prince to take the bait, but he talked a lot with Li Linfu. This is a talent, we have to keep him. As for the second prince, he has good qualifications and is a good candidate to lead troops, so he must be kept. As for the 80,000 elite soldiers outside the city, they left dejectedly after staying for half an hour. According to the secret agreement between the second prince and them, they would only stay for half an hour. If they succeeded, someone would inform them. If they failed, they could leave on their own. No one would hold the ordinary soldiers accountable afterwards. However, if they were defeated, the two great generals Nangong Zheng and Jia Quan might not be able to save them. They waited for half an hour, but no one came to deliver the message, so they naturally thought that the second prince had failed and died. They will also return to the camp to await the final judgment. It's dawn. Your Majesty has issued an oral order. No official in the capital may be absent from the morning court today. Those who violate the order will be dismissed from office and their entire clan will be exterminated. The chief eunuch Zhao Gao stood on the top of the imperial palace and shouted loudly, and his voice could be heard throughout the capital. Zhao Gao is a member of the Dao Palace 9th grade, a direct descendant of the previous emperor, the head of the eunuchs, and the one who knows Li Linfu's plan. For a moment, all officials were shocked. They didn't know what happened in the palace last night. The Grand Tutor's faction and officials who had been to the eldest prince's residence were even more at a loss. The Grand Tutor and the eldest prince both asked them to wait, but this was the meaning of Zhao Gao's words today. I don't know if everything has been settled. Should I go to this morning court or not? In the end, the Golden Throne Hall was packed with people, with no one absent. What surprised everyone in particular was that the imperial censor Ding Yu and several arrested officials actually appeared in the court. However, Prime Minister Li was not there, and the curtain behind the dragon throne was removed. These scenes made officials from other factions look happy. As for Li Zhang's faction, they were as sad as if their parents had died. This situation is already obvious. Prime Minister Li and the Queen Mother were defeated, but no one knows which prince will sit on the dragon throne later. Zhao Gao walked in from the side door of the Golden Palace, stood in front of the dragon throne and shouted. Your Majesty has arrived. Long live His Majesty. All the officials knelt down and shouted loudly, with their heads hitting the ground, not daring to be careless at all. In the Four Extremities continent, cultivation can increase one's lifespan, but that also requires the Dao Palace realm. Under ordinary Dao palaces, it would be a blessing to live to be 100 years old. The Dao Palace lifespan is 150, and the Law Manifestation lifespan is no more than 500. Therefore, shouting, "Long live the Emperor," in this land of hundreds of countries is also a kind of hope, which means breaking the shackles and moving towards the highest. Therefore, it is conceivable that Li Yun signed into Cultivate for 500 years before reaching the Law Manifestation realm, which shows how rubbish his qualifications are. Under normal circumstances, he would not survive to the Law Manifestation realm. Except cheating. Li Yun sat high on the dragon throne, looking down at his ministers. Gentlemen, please stand up. Li Yun waved his hand. All the ministers stood up and began to look at which prince was sitting on the throne. Everyone rubbed their eyes. What's going on? Did I see it right? Why is the third prince still sitting on the seat? Could it be that Li Shang and his men won? But, what about Li Shang? Li Yun took note of the performance of all his ministers. You all seem to have some doubts. There was a hint of majesty in Li Yun's words, and all the officials trembled when they heard it. This third prince seems to be different from before. But isn't the third prince a puppet supported by Prime Minister Li and the Queen Mother? Li Yun knocked on the dragon throne and continued speaking without waiting for the ministers to respond. Great Qian has been established for thousands of years. Emperor Gaozu rose from humble beginnings. Feeling the hardships of the people, he raised his arms and raised the flag. After 10 years of bloody battles, he founded the country. After thousands of years of development, Great Qian once established an immortal foundation in the land of hundreds of countries. However, now Great Qian's national strength has declined, internal and external troubles have occurred, the people have been displaced, and bandits have emerged everywhere. Now that I have ascended to the throne, are you willing to follow me in sweeping away the past haze, sweeping away all enemies, and planting the banner of Great Qian throughout the four extremities? In the near future, everything within the reach of the people of Great Qian will be Great Qian's territory. All the ministers were shocked when they heard this. The Great Qian dynasty had been weak for a long time, and its former might was gone, so many small countries around it wanted to bully it. In this land of hundreds of countries under the eastern wilderness, Great Qian is still in the middle of the dynasty. His Majesty has already set his sights on the entire four extremities, so his goal is quite ambitious. But if this day really comes, how powerful will Great Qian be? All officials are looking forward to it. I am willing to die for your Majesty. Ding Yu stood up first and roared with all his strength. I am willing to die for your Majesty. All officials responded. Li Yun nodded. Okay, if you guys have this intention, then I'll ask you to die. Zhao Gao, read. The ministers. Zhao Gao took a step forward and opened the imperial edict in his hand. In compliance with my imperial decree, Great Qian is now riddled with wounds, and the poison must be removed and all those who violate the law must be executed. Minister Zhang Zheng of the Ministry of Personnel bought and appointed officials, accepted bribes, and was involved in 38 murders. His family and property will be confiscated and he will be executed. Lu Ma, the Minister of Revenue, embezzled the national treasury, formed a clique to engage in private business, and smuggled, involving 76 deaths. His family and property will be confiscated and he will be executed. Minister of Justice Zhao Bian set up a private prison, used private punishment, and abused his power, involving 321 deaths. He confiscated all property and exterminated all clans, and was executed. The second commander of the Imperial Guard. Quote. Zhao Gao read out hundreds of names in succession, including 12 officials above the third grade, and the lowest punishment was beheading. After the investigation by the embroidered uniform guards and Li Linfu's records over the years, the crimes of many important officials were all clearly listed, with traces to be found, and there was no way for them to deny. Your Majesty, I am innocent. A series of officials knelt on the ground. But Li Yun's eyes were as hard as iron. Hundreds of Jinyue in black clothes took down the officials on the list in the hall one by one and dragged them out. The number of people in the entire court was suddenly reduced by more than half. It was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. Chapter 8. Sign in at the Great Tao Sacred Body, blood dyes the city. All the officials were trembling with fear, most of them had shaking legs and beads of sweat the size of beans condensed on their heads. Li Yun smiled coldly. Gentlemen, not appearing on the list does not mean that you have no problems. On the contrary, each of you has a record of your life. Don't pretend to be incorruptible and upright. I can allow you to do wrong things, but I won't allow you to do anything that is detrimental to Great Qian. This matter ends here. In the future, I hope you will think twice before you act. The second thing is, since there are so many vacancies, let's change the national system. From today on, Great Qian abolishes the position of the three ministers and establishes a cabinet to handle government affairs. Li Linfu is the chief minister of the cabinet, Gongsun Li and Ding Yu are the second assistants, and the cabinet members will agree that all state affairs will be submitted to the cabinet for deliberation by the 6 ministries. If there is no major event, it does not need to be submitted to the palace. The functions of the 6 ministries remain unchanged. The Ministry of Personnel will draft a list of vacancies for each position, submit it to the cabinet for review, and then present it to me for review. From today on, the Jinyue will be established. They have the power to monitor all officials, patrol and arrest criminals. They are responsible only to me. I tell you clearly that the Jinyue is a sword hanging over the heads of all officials. Great Qian, retreat. After saying this, Li Yun disappeared into the hall. The ministers were left looking at each other in bewilderment. Dozens of orders were spoken by His Majesty himself, and every word was precious, engraved in the hearts of all officials. Today's shocks were one after another. They were lucky to still have their heads hanging on their necks. Hall of Mental Cultivation. Li Yun appeared and Ji Yuan was already waiting there. There are 2 important things at the moment. The first is the 3 major vassal kings, who must be dealt with, which is relatively simple. But the second one is a little more troublesome. It is the Yin-Yang sect to which Du Gufeng belongs. According to what she explained, the Yin-Yang sect has many strong people and is considered a considerable force in the Eastern Wilderness. Eastern Wilderness, Sacred Land, 6 major sects, and 2 dynasties. Yin-Yang sect is a subsidiary force of Shungshan sect, one of the 6 major sects. There are many void refining realm masters in the sect, and there are more than 10 empty void realm elders. The sect master may be in the Hexu realm, but as for those above the Hexu realm, Du Gufeng doesn't know whether there are any. After the realm of emptiness is the realm of Tao. Ask about the Tao, observe the Tao, and integrate the Tao. Beyond the Tao realm is the Saint realm. Saint ideographic, Saint King ideographic, Saint Emperor ideographic, Saint Emperor. There are powerful people who have surpassed the realm of Tao in the 9 major forces, and each of them has the ability to destroy the world. In order to become a top force, a strong person from Saint realm must be in charge. The land of 100 kingdoms is located in a remote area and is a subsidiary land of Yin-Yang sect. Yin-Yang sect has several such subsidiary lands. In the territories, Yin-Yang sect does not allow existence higher than law manifestation realm. Only with their permission and joining Yin-Yang sect can one break into void-shattering realm. Otherwise, Yin-Yang sect law enforcers will come and kill you. This was the case with the previous emperor. Disciples like Du Gufeng accepted the sect's assessment mission, and their mission was to reap the country's fortune. There are hundreds of countries in the land of 100 nations. Each time, only 3 to 5 disciples will receive a mission. The countries are selected by drawing lots and the mission is completed within 2 months. If it is not completed, the assessment elder will come in person to check the reason. And Du Gufeng was the one who won the Great Qian. Du Gufeng had never told Li Linfu these things before. Otherwise, Li Linfu would not have done all those useless things before. Even if the substitution was successful, Du Gufeng's mission would not be considered a success, and the assessment elder still had to intervene personally. That is to say, there is still a month left. If Du Gufeng doesn't go back, the assessment elder will come in person. However, Li Yun was not in a hurry. Du Gufeng had him killed yesterday, which was considered as revenge for his father's death. There is still a month left. A month is short, but also very long. It only took 2 days to transmigrate to this world. In 2 days, he became the emperor and a powerful figure in the law manifestation realm. Sign in for another month, maybe Great Qian will undergo a drastic change, and by then, Yin-Yang sect may not even be taken seriously by me. Jiwan, have the Jinyue infiltrate the 3 kings with all their strength. Combined with the information from Li Linfu, I want to take over the 4 prefectures without bloodshed within 2 days, so that the 6 prefectures of my Great Qian can work together and be as strong as a rock. Yes. Ji Yuan received the order and left the palace. After Great Qian unified the country, he would start planning for hundreds of countries. Since God wanted him to come here and he had the system to assist him, he would be unworthy of his identity as a transmigrator if he didn't become an emperor who swept across the heavens. Li Yun sat in the hall, thought for a while, and shouted. Someone come. Zhao Gao walked in with small steps. What do you want, Your Majesty? Prince Zan, the 2nd prince, and the 5th prince. Yes. Now that he has taken this position, the princes will naturally give up the idea. Among them, only the 2nd prince is too straightforward, the eldest prince is a bit mysterious, and the 5th prince is not simple either. If they are willing, they will be made kings and moved out of Qiandu city. If they are not willing, then we will find a way to send them out of the land of the 100 kingdoms. With their qualifications, I believe they can thrive even in the Eastern Wilderness. System, sign in. We can't forget to sign in today. Ding. Signing in. Ding. Congratulations to the host, signing in is the Great Tao Sacred Body. Great Tao Sacred Body. The strongest physique, close to the Tao, it is twice as effective with half the effort when practicing, and it is easier to comprehend the Great Tao of heaven and earth. When practicing to the extreme, one can transform into the Great Tao and suppress all enemies. In simple terms, it is the Great Tao's biological son, the kind who can inherit the family property. Hiss. Li Yun took a breath of cold air. It looks awesome from the introduction. Boom. A mysterious energy suddenly appeared in Li Yun's body, and then began to wander around in his body, transforming every part of his body. Every part of the body begins to approach perfection and evolves into Tao essence. In the end, Li Yun's every move contained the meaning of Tao, and his body was in harmony with heaven and earth. Rays of light appeared above Li Yun's head, and the golden body law manifestation also emerged. The golden body was bathed in the rosy glow, and then strange visions appeared one after another. Bright moon rises over the sea. Stars shine in the sky. Dragon and phoenix sing. Harp and chords. Guanyin XX. The Buddha came to the world. ... Endless divine power filled the entire hall. Li Yun was at the center of the vision, like the Lord of all Buddhas, the King of Gods, and the Invincible Emperor. The next moment, Li Yun clenched his hand, and the strange phenomenon disappeared instantly. At the same time, the golden body of law manifestation was instantly shattered, and a faint white thread appeared where the golden body was broken. Then it drilled in from the top of Li Yun's head and merged into his body. The realm of void refining has arrived. As expected, he is worthy of being called the Great Tao Sacred Body. He even broke through his realm. Breaking through the realm is as easy as eating and drinking. As long as you accumulate enough, there will be no shackles of realm at all. The barrier between realms is like a membrane that breaks at the slightest touch. And energy continued to flow into Li Yun's body from the void. This is the Great Tao Sacred Body. Even if you don't practice, your body will automatically absorb vital energy and strengthen itself. It's a pity that the energy of heaven and earth in the land of 100 nations is a bit thin, so this progress is minimal. In less than a quarter of an hour, Zhao Gao arrived, but only the second prince followed him. Zhao Gao knelt down tremblingly and said in a frightened tone. Your Majesty, the second prince has been brought here, but the fifth prince is nowhere to be found. The first prince also disappeared on the spot after passing a message to this old servant. Oh, Li Yun was a little surprised. With Ji Yuan in charge of Qiandu and the Jinyue watching them all the time, how could they slip away silently? What did the eldest prince leave behind? The eldest prince said, Great Qian should not be confined to this small land of 100 countries. Li Yun raised his eyebrows. I originally thought that the eldest prince was just hiding his abilities, it seems I underestimated him. Could it be the reincarnation of a powerful man? A faint voice came into his ears. It was Ji Yuan's voice. The embroidered uniform guards discovered a letter left in the fifth prince's mansion, with the same sentence on it. Third brother, I'm going to the eastern wilderness. I'm going to sit on the throne. I'll be back in 3 years. Interesting. Li Yun didn't think too much about it. 3 years. 3 years later, I don't know what the situation will be like. However, Li Yun had a hunch that he would see these two brothers again in the future. Second brother, what do you think? Li Yun sat high on the holy chair and looked at the second prince. I will follow your majesty's arrangements in everything. If your majesty allows, I am willing to be your majesty's sword, pointing it at all the countries. Li Qian leaned forward, very respectful. Li Yun nodded. The second child still has some brains. He knew that since he had taken this position, he would definitely not be a conservative emperor. Go to Tongzhou Prefecture first, and then wait for the next order. Li Qian had some doubts. Tongzhou Prefecture was the territory of Zhao Wang Li Chengfeng, and it never responded to the orders of the imperial court. But he didn't say much. Since yesterday, he couldn't understand his third brother at all. Qiandu city is in chaos at the moment. The streets were full of men in black, escorting teams of people in gorgeous clothes. They were all high-ranking officials, nobles, wealthy businessmen's families, and the like. But now they are all prisoners. The streets were already lined with Qiandu people in 3 layers. What's going on? Isn't that the Minister of Justice? A first-grade official, how did he become a prisoner? That's not all. Look, the Minister of Revenue is here too. His Majesty has searched their homes and will execute them on the spot. Well done. My 7th uncle's son's brother-in-law was beaten to death by the Ministry of Justice. This Minister of Justice is definitely not a good guy. Look at the Minister of Finance's big belly. I don't think you can find anything even if you cut open his belly. How much of the people's money has he consumed? He deserves to be killed. How many high-ranking officials are there? If they are killed, it will cause great turmoil to our Great Qian. What the hell is turmoil? What kind of chaos is Great Qian in now? In times of chaos, severe punishments should be used. I think your majesty is extremely wise. It is a blessing for our Great Qian to have such an emperor. The people of Qiandu were talking about it, most of them clapped and cheered, and in the end they all knelt on the ground and shouted, Long live the emperor. Cut. A deputy commander of the embroidered uniform guard sat high on a horse and gave orders. The clicking sound continued. In an instant, the streets were filled with heads rolling and blood rushing to the sky. The blood from hundreds of corpses gathered into a small stream, flowing rapidly. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. The first year of the Qianyan calendar. When Emperor Yun first ascended the throne, he executed 32,431 corrupt officials and their subordinates who had committed heinous crimes. Chapter 9. Envoys from the 3 Kingdoms and the Prince's Small Actions. Zhao Gao, how long have you been in Dao Palace 9th grade? In the Imperial Palace, Li Yun asked casually. Zhao Gao responded quickly. Your Majesty, I am grateful to Great Qian, but I am a dull old servant and have been in 9th grade for 3 years. Li Yun nodded, and then threw a golden pill over. This is the realm-breaking pill. It is a reward for you. You can use it to enter the law manifestation realm. Zhao Gao's face was full of surprise and he immediately knelt down on the ground. Thank you, Your Majesty, for your gift. At the same time, he became even more in awe of Li Yun. Even the slightest bit of aura revealed by Li Yun made him feel a little frightened. He could even casually reward him with this kind of elixir. It was really unfathomable. Cabinet. The efficiency of Great Qian officials is still very fast. After all, most of them are martial artists. Even the civil servants have some cultivation skills. However, most of them stay in the innate realm and have strong energy. Under Li Linfu's intensive efforts, a cabinet leadership team was also formed. After seeing the strength of Li Yun and Ji Yuan, he let go of everything. Now he only wanted to develop Great Qian well, until he defeated the Yin-Yang sect, and realized the ambitious declaration made by His Majesty in the court. Mr. Gongsun, I may have offended you before. Now I want to apologize to you for what happened before. I hope you can let go of the past and work together to lay the eternal foundation for Great Qian. Li Linfu bowed deeply to Gongsun Li. Gongsun Li quickly dodged. In fact, Li Linfu was still his teacher. It was just that after he entered the court as an official, he had many disagreements with Li Linfu on political views. Li Linfu always intentionally or unintentionally hindered the development of the dynasty, which made him think that Li Linfu was the biggest traitor of Great Qian, and thus he broke off all ties with him. However, the few remaining first-grade officials in the court now also know the truth of the matter, and they are full of respect for this old man who can sacrifice everything for Great Qian. Li Shang, oh no, Li Shufu, there is no need to talk about the past. Now that Great Qian is revitalized, you and I have a lot of responsibilities on our shoulders. Your Majesty has ordered us to form this cabinet. This is a great gift. Even if it is a huge burden, we must shoulder it. Everything is for Great Qian. Everything for Great Qian. The two pairs of old hands were tightly clasped together, full of affection. Hey, I'm still here, you two old bastards. Ding Yu's voice from the side made them let go of their hands quickly. Half an hour later, Li Linfu and the other two frowned as they looked at the memorial in front of them. The 6 ministries have resumed operations and the first batch of memorials have been sent in. Originally, His Majesty's order was that all state affairs should be approved by the cabinet, and only those who were unsure could enter the imperial palace to meet him. And now, on their first day at work, they have encountered difficulties. The Yun, Feng, and Liang countries sent envoys together, saying that they had heard that Princess Great Qian had reached adulthood and that their countries happened to have princes of the right age, so they intended to arrange a marriage to show the friendship between the two countries. The envoys from the 3 countries have been on the road for many days, but because of the disputes in Qiandu some time ago, this matter has been put on hold. Moreover, the 3 countries sent envoys at the same time, saying that they had not discussed it beforehand, but no one believed it. Moreover, there are only 2 princesses in Great Qian. Even if it is a marriage alliance, can they be promised to 3 families at the same time? Conspiracy, absolute conspiracy. The 3 kingdoms were divided into 3 parts of the Great Qian, Yun in the south, Feng in the east, and Liang in the north. To the west of Great Qian are the 100,000 mountains, which stretch across hundreds of countries for countless miles. There are 6 prefectures in Great Qian: Dingyang, Tongzhou, and Linchang. Pingchang, Huaiyang, forever. The first 3 prefectures were all ruled by vassal kings and were close to Liang and Yun. The military strength of the 2 countries is relatively weak. Although both have hundreds of thousands of troops deployed on the border, there are few battles. The 3 great princes all have 200,000 private soldiers each and they are all connected to each other, which is the basis for their separatist rule. Pingchang Prefecture made contact with Liang State. The people of Liang were tough and brave, with many soldiers and generals. They often invaded the border, which was guarded by General Zanbei Li Tianba, who led an army of 500,000. Huaiyang Prefecture is adjacent to the Shiwanda Mountains, and monsters often wreak havoc there. The Marquis of Huaiyang leads 300,000 troops to suppress the attacks. Chengkun Prefecture is where Qiandu is located and is considered to be the most stable of the 3 prefectures. Li Linfu took the memorial and went straight into the palace. When it comes to the royal princess, he dare not make a rash decision. In the imperial palace, Li Yun put down the letter. Oh, you want to marry my imperial princess? Why don't you take ***s and look in the mirror? Li Qing, what do you think? Li Yun asked. Li Linfu pondered for a moment and said, Your Majesty, this matter is not that simple. The original intention of the 3 kingdoms should not be to marry our princess. They may just be looking for an excuse. Liang country is warlike and always covets our Great Qian territory. If I am right, Yun country and Feng country should be closely related to the major vassal kings. Li Yun knocked on the table and threw an envelope to Li Linfu. Take a look. Li Linfu took the envelope, opened it and looked at it for a few seconds, his pupils shrinking slightly. It clearly records all the movements of the 3 major princely palaces over the past 2 days. Everyone in the 3 major princely palaces, including the princes, and housekeepers. What time did you eat, what did you eat, and who did you meet? Even which prince listened to music in which brothel and for how long, and how many minutes he stayed in which courtesan's room were all recorded clearly. Is this the Jinyiwei? Major. Li Linfu had also sent subordinates to monitor the princes before, but the princes' palaces all had experts, and even if the people he sent had a hidden law manifestation realm, it would be difficult for them to get close. Li Linfu couldn't help but wonder. He didn't know what changes had taken place in this world or whether Qian Kingdom had just regained its vitality. Why did law manifestation realms begin to emerge one after another? The 9 law manifestation realms he trained went to the other 9 countries, but they did not sense the presence of several law manifestation realms. Let's leave it at that for now. The envoys from the 3 countries will arrive tomorrow. None of them will be able to escape this time. The 3 vassal kings colluded with foreign countries and sold our territory. They should be executed. This is how Li Yun characterized the matter. Li Linfu didn't dare to say anything more. Everything is under the control of His Majesty. Since he has said that the 3 great princes should be beheaded, none of them can escape. At this time, orders were constantly coming out from the 3 major princes' palaces, and the armies were all moving. Li Yun had ordered the Jinyue to intercept all news coming out of Qiandu yesterday, so the 3 great princes still don't know the situation in Qiandu. They only know that the previous emperor died and the weakest 3rd prince succeeded to the throne, who is a puppet. Now is the time for them to build a great foundation. When the late emperor was still alive, they had to take care of Li Tianba's 500,000 troops and the Marquis of Weiyang. But since the late emperor had passed away, Qiandu was in chaos. Li Tianba, Weiyang Hu and Li Shang were also at odds with each other. There was no way they would raise an army to help the 3rd prince. What's more, the emperor of Liang is also an ambitious person, and Li Tianba cannot come back. With such a great opportunity, and since we are all members of the sovereign clan Li, how can we not get promoted? Qian Do Xing Y. The 3 convoys also arrived in Qiandu at the same time. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 10. The Frightened Envoys of the 3 Kingdoms, the Evil Spirits of the Great Qian Royal Family. The envoys of the 3 kingdoms arrived at the gate of Qiandu. The newly appointed Minister of Rights, Zhang Dian, had already received the order and had been waiting for a long time. You envoys have come from afar to my capital, and you must be exhausted. My emperor has ordered me to entertain you well and not to neglect you. Now please follow me to the Sifang Pavilion to rest. Tomorrow, His Majesty will personally summon you. Zhang Dian smiled as he looked at the convoy of envoys from the 3 countries, especially the Liang Kingdom. The relationship between Liang State and Great Qian was extremely bad, but this time a prince came directly, and he was a prince with the right to inherit the throne. The 7th prince actually dared to come here in person. I guess he thought that the situation in Great Qian was chaotic now, so he wanted to take advantage of the situation. However, it was easy to come here, but it would not be so easy to go back. If I can live until tomorrow when His Majesty summons me, Great Qian's sword will be no longer sharp. Among the 3 kingdoms, Liang had the least envoys, with only 3 people, one of whom was the 7th prince of Liang, a maid, and an old guard. The people coming from Feng country and Yun country were in a convoy, each with more than 50 people. The leaders are a powerless marquis and a marginalized 3rd-grade official. He is indeed here to die. I'm afraid that the 2 teams are not enough to defeat that old man from Liang country. However, the 2 men were unaware of this and were extremely arrogant, as if they did not take him, a vice minister of the Ministry of Personnel, seriously at all. The Marquis of Anil didn't even get out of the carriage, he just made a sound. Please lead the way, but the environment in your Qian kingdom is really bad. I haven't slept well for several days. I must make arrangements tonight and then meet your little emperor. Clank. Presumptuous. How dare you disrespect His Majesty? Several Great Qian soldiers on both sides drew their swords and pointed them at the Yun state convoy. The Yun kingdom guards' expressions tensed, and they all stood in front of Marquis Anli's carriage, their bodies tense. At the same time, he cursed his own master in his heart. What the hell, are you stupid? You can say whatever you want in your own home, but why can't you control your mouth when you are in someone else's territory? Don't take us with you even if you die. Marquis Anil in the carriage also felt a panic. Wasn't it clearly stated that the 3rd prince of Great Qian had no foundation and would be a puppet emperor when he ascended the throne? Given the current situation in Qian country, do you still dare to attack me? The officials of Great Qian will definitely stop them later, and they dare not offend themselves. But he waited and waited, but Zhang Dian didn't say anything, and the situation suddenly came to a standstill. Suddenly Zhang Dian waved his hand and said with a smile, My lord, you are old now, you must be careful with your words. Forget it this time, but you must be more careful in your next life. Hearing Zhang Dian's words, Marquis Anil felt relieved. It seems that the small Qian kingdom still dares not offend him. But then he was stunned. What did he say just now? Be more careful in your next life. Not only him, the whole audience was stunned. At this moment, more than 100 men in black suddenly appeared and surrounded the Yun kingdom's convoy. Misunderstanding, it's all misunderstanding. Marquis Anli's heart was trembling. He rolled out with his fat body and smiled at Zhang Dianpei. Master Zhang, I just made a mistake. Zhang Dian, however, did not give him face. To insult His Majesty Great Qian is a capital crime. Marquis, if you are a conferred marquis in your next life, you should be careful. Anil is not nice, I think you should rest in peace. The men in black rushed forward, and with the flash of swords and the shadow of sabers, the convoy of more than 50 people was wiped out in an instant. After all, the black-clad men around were all Jinyue, and their lowest level was innate ninth layer, and there was even a deputy commander guarding the city gate. There aren't even a few Dao Palace realms in the Yun Kingdom's suicide convoy, so how can they resist? Looking at the corpse of Marquis Anil with a horrified face, Zhang Dian kicked him 10 meters away, then said to the remaining envoys from the two countries with a smile. Please come in, both of you. We have prepared wine and food in the city, and we are just waiting for you to check in. The third-grade official from Feng country was so scared that he peed his pants and collapsed on the ground. He was just a third-grade censor, and had hoped to become famous with his eloquent tongue, but he never expected to encounter such a scene as soon as he arrived in Qiandu. In comparison, the seventh prince of Liang was relatively calm. There was a lot of blood on his hands, and it could even be said that all that happened was just a drop in the bucket for him. But if you look closely, you can see that his hands are shaking too. He was also a little panicked. He didn't understand how Great Qian dared to do this. But since they dared to do such a thing in public and did not hide it, then they would be their prey, and they would definitely not let them go. Is this the final madness of an empire? However, although he was panicked, he was not very scared. He has a backup plan. Even the old man next to him is at the law manifestation third grade level, so it shouldn't be a problem for him to protect me and leave. He believed that Great Qian could not stop him. Sure enough, the old man next to him nodded to him, indicating that he could rest assured. The old man is also very confident. Even though the team of black-clad men in front of him surprised him, they were all above innate ninth grade, and there were even Dao Palace 9 stars. However, they also have guards of this strength in Liang State. The Imperial Palace guards even have a 100-man team from the Dao Palace realm. I guess this is the final foundation that Great Qian has finally put together. But these are no match for him. He may not be able to kill them all, but it is still easy for him to escape. Even after entering Qiandu, he could still come and go freely. He has nothing to fear as there is no law manifestation strongman of the same realm. He believed that Great Qian did not have this strength. However, what he didn't know was that several eyes were already fixed on him. With his strength at the law manifestation third grade level, he didn't even notice it. The seventh prince forced a smile and was the first to enter the city gate. Although I am frightened, I cannot lose face. He is the prince of Liang and the future emperor. The Liang kingdom admires the strong. If he escapes in public, he will probably have no chance of becoming king if he returns. Let's make plans after we get into the city. If no good happens, I can just let the old guy take me away. And there is another very important point. His Liang kingdom is not comparable to the Yun kingdom and the Feng kingdom. In terms of national strength, his Liang kingdom can crush the two countries. The Qian kingdom can intimidate him, but it should not kill him. Zhang Dian followed the convoy into the city gate, then made a gesture towards the gate, and the gate slammed shut. The sixth princess's mansion. The youngest princess of the Great Qian royal family. Li Yuehua, who just turned 16, was reading a book quietly. There was a knock on the door and a maid came in. Princess, the three kingdoms have sent envoys, and they seem to want to form an alliance with our dynasty and marry the princess. Do you want to call back a few people from the spirit group to serve them, or destroy the three kingdoms? The maid said something shocking, she actually meant to destroy the three kingdoms. Li Yuehua's expression remained unchanged. She stood up and looked in the direction of the Imperial Palace, thinking for a while. No need for that. My third brother is no ordinary man. He is in charge of the Imperial Palace, but I can't quite see through him. Such a man would never accept a request for marriage. By the way, how did the spirit team complete their mission? Princess, the people from the spirit team have found the whereabouts of the thief, but the thief has made rapid progress. In just 3 months, he has broken through from the innate ninth layer to the law manifestation first grade. Master Ling has already set out, and he will definitely be able to capture the thief. Li Yuehua nodded. Ling Yi is the most talented and powerful person in her spirit group, and has already reached the 9th grade of law manifestation. After arresting the thief this time, she plans to take him to find a secret realm to break through the void-shattering realm. It was all because of the damn Yin-Yang sect, which did not allow anyone to break into the void-shattering realm in the land of the 100 nations without permission, and even set up a ban. If they sensed fluctuations in the void realm, they would send people to investigate. With her current strength, she doesn't dare to break through rashly. He blamed that damned little thief even more. If she hadn't robbed him of his chance, he might have left this land of 100 nations, and then brought that chance back to the top, and came back to destroy this unpleasant Yin-Yang sect single-handedly. It's a pity that a Dao Fusion realm master like me was willing to sacrifice my life to reincarnate just to find a chance to become a saint, but it was destroyed by a kid. As for the previous farces in Qiandu, he did not take them seriously. She had no idea about the dynasty's affiliation, and even thought it was childish. The dynasty is just a burden to her, and her mind is now only on the opportunity to become a saint. If I hadn't turned 18 yet and had missed the opportunity, if I hadn't rashly left Qiandu now, I might have been noticed by that guy from Eastern Wilderness, and I would have taken action to capture that thief long ago. Imperial Palace. Li Yun was frowning as he looked at a piece of rice paper in his hand. The above is the information of two people. Two people he was very close to. The fourth and sixth princesses of the Great Qian. The content was written by Ji Yuan himself. The fourth princess, Li Yurong, is 17 years old. According to previous records, he was proficient in everything except martial Dao and did not leave his mansion for a year. However, my subordinates investigated and found that the princess's mansion was shrouded in fog and could not be entered rashly. The sixth princess, Li Yuehua, was 16 years old. According to previous records, he likes reading and has no other hobbies. However, my subordinates have investigated and found that his cultivation is very advanced, and he should be at the law manifestation 9th grade realm. He has an organization under his name, with no more than 30 people, all of whom are intelligent. It is suspected that there are many law manifestation realms. He is currently in Yu country, and seems to be arresting someone. There are some detailed records later. This information was given to him yesterday, but he just hasn't had time to process it yet. Li Yun sighed. What kind of monsters are these great Qian royal family? First it was the eldest prince, who was like a charlatan and left a message for himself before leaving. He was extremely mysterious. Then came the fifth prince, who was filled with demonic energy and said that he would sit on the throne for 3 years. And then there are these two princesses again. You also need to add yourself, a transmigrate guest in the Rausch subsystem. Judging from this, the throne should belong to the second prince. He is the only normal person. Li Yun now even began to doubt whether Great Qian's ancestor was a significant figure. Could it be some kind of heavenly emperor who has been ruling the world for eternity? Or is he a master who looks down on the long river of time? Is it just the right time for the bloodline to return to our ancestors in this generation? Moreover, except for the second brother, all these people should have known about the vicious woman who caused chaos in the harem. Why didn't they take any action? If it was for the throne, it would make sense. But if he had no interest in the throne, why would he sit idly by and watch his father being killed by that vicious woman? Chapter 11. Feng Xiang, Ring, Grandpa. Yu country. A kingdom of superior strength among the 100 kingdoms. There is a powerful person in the law manifestation golden body realm in charge. In an ordinary city, a dusty man came into an ordinary restaurant. My name is Feng Xiang, a great Qian person. I was originally going to go to Nalan's house to cancel the engagement. But just because of one more look in the crowd, a ring appeared on her hand. Not only that, I also gave away dozens of enemies, just chop them down when you see them. I could only keep running and running through one dynasty after another. They kept chasing and chasing through one dynasty after another. Fortunately, the ring was powerful and the old man who accompanied him came out from time to give guidance, so he finally escaped danger and barely survived. His cultivation was like riding a rocket, rushing from the innate 9th layer to the current law manifestation 3rd grade. However, the enemy has also evolved from the previous Dao Palace 9th grade to the current law manifestation 9th grade. Fortunately, he still followed the protagonist principle in the novel and kept the king until the end, otherwise he would have died long ago. I think I should be the protagonist. After I deal with the pursuers behind me, I will go back to Gon country and cancel the engagement. Damn Nalan family, I once looked down on a genius from innate 9th grade and fell in love with a waste from Dao Palace 4th grade. Just because he is 1 year younger than me. Just because his realm is a little higher than mine. Just because he is the son of Marquis Weiyang. Just because you two are in love. Bah, I will help you when I get back. I am a law manifestation 3rd grade now and a saint in the future, so you guys go and regret it. Boy, run quickly, that guy is coming. Damn it, his nose is true spirit, even the hiding method I taught you couldn't hide it. An old voice came from Fang Zhang's ring and imprinted in his ears. FK. Feng Xiang cursed, looked at the few main dishes that had not yet been placed on the waiter's plate, and swallowed his saliva. Then he looked in the direction of the city gate and calculated the time. I can't eat it anymore. Then he dodged and disappeared from the restaurant. At the same time, several items of food in Xiaowei's hand also disappeared. FKU. I ate a free meal and ran away. You are a master who has achieved great success in cultivation. How shameless. The waiter cursed Feng Xiang as he watched him disappear. The next moment, a young man in white appeared at the place where Feng Xiang was before, scaring the waiter so much that he thought he had scolded the master back. Wasn't there a young man of about 17 or 18 years old here just now, wearing white clothes and looking like this? The young man moved his right hand, and the vital energy in the void condensed to form a human face, which was exactly Feng Zhang's face. Law manifestation realm. So young. Everyone in the restaurant was surprised. Only someone in the law manifestation realm can do this, but he still looks so young. The waiter rubbed his eyes and nodded. Yes, yes, it's him, sir. He just ordered a table of dishes here, but ran away without paying. Do you know him? Do you want to pay for him? The rest of the people in the restaurant secretly gave the waiter a thumbs up. Dare to speak like this to the law manifestation realm. Do your family members know that you are so brave? However, Shower has the confidence to say this. There are quite a few law manifestation realms in Yu country. Although their city is not big in Yu country, there is a very powerful city lord. The city lord is a law manifestation 6th grade person. And I hate people who dine and eat for free the most. Look, the city lord has arrived, and he has arrived. Which fellow Taoist is visiting my city without even saying hello to the city lord? A slightly majestic voice came. A middle-aged man in a red cloak appeared in the air, standing with his hands behind his back, looking a bit pretentious. Ling Yi frowned. He doesn't have time to waste here. Completing the princess's orders is the most important thing. However, he couldn't stand this pretentious attitude. He just picked up a chopstick, gathered his energy, and shot it towards the middle-aged man. Without caring about what happened next, his figure disappeared and the pursuit continued. The chopstick flew like an arrow from a bow, making a sound of breaking wind, and in an instant it was in front of the middle-aged man in the cloak. The middle-aged man was startled and did a backflip, narrowly escaping the disaster. But the chopsticks hit the knot of his red cloak and removed his cloak. What? Law manifestation 9th grade. The middle-aged man just caught a glimpse of the young man's aura and his heart shuddered. Not only was he confused, but the waiter at the restaurant was even more confused. What is going on? Our city lord can't even defeat that B******************. Damn it, I am lucky today. I will burn some incense for my ancestors when I go back. The tablets for my ancestors have been burning there for decades. In the wilderness. Feng wanted to reveal his figure and sighed helplessly. Damn it, they were chasing me so closely. It wasn't like I stole the ring on purpose, it just flew over here by itself. I'm handsome, is there anything wrong with that? Suddenly, his face froze. Damn, what did he see? In front of him, there was a figure standing, holding a sword in his right hand, which was already unsheathed. He is the one who is chasing him the most and also the strongest one. You little thief, you can't run away. You stole my treasure, so why don't you hand it over? Ling Yi said angrily. He couldn't help but be angry. The princess deduced that a secret realm had appeared, and inside it was something she was determined to obtain. They finally found the secret realm and lost more than 10 lives before they brought out the only ring. But this ring was a little special, like a space ring, but they couldn't open it, so they had to take it back with them and give it to the princess to crack it. Unexpectedly, it was stolen on the way back. Fortunately, Ling Yi was careful and put a mark on it in advance, so he discovered the thief. But later his mark was erased. It took a lot of time and effort to track down Feng Xiang again. No matter what I say, I won't let him get away this time. Whoever stole your treasure, I told you that this thing came to me on its own, which means I have a connection with it. Besides, I can't give it to you even if I want to. Once I put the ring on my hand, I can't take it off. Feng Xiang was also a little angry. He really didn't mean it. Moreover, these people started to hack him as soon as they met him. This time it was considered good. He just said one sentence. They didn't say a word before and just started to hack him. He didn't even have a chance to explain. Of course, even if I explain it, it will be useless and no one will believe it. Look, the man swung his sword. What? Sword intent. I'm hiding. Feng Xiang dodged and a gully hundreds of feet long appeared on the ground behind him. Mr. Mu, if you don't say anything I'm going to kill you. Seeing Ling Yi's momentum gradually erupting, Feng Xiang felt a little scared. Damn, I really can't do it, there's a 6th grade gap between us. This person is very powerful and his attacks are fierce. There should be few people in the law manifestation realm who can defeat him. I estimate that he is at least a top-notch talent. Xiao Fengzi, let me control your body later, but I may need to recuperate for a while. You should be careful in the next half-month and don't let anyone discover you. The old man's voice in the ring came into Fang Zhang's mind. Fang tried his best to dodge Ling Yi's sword, but his clothes were already torn, and he really couldn't block it. Hurry, old man, I'm going to die. Feng Xiang shouted in his heart, because he saw another sword coming towards him, and this sword was more powerful than the previous ones. Then his body froze in midair for half a breath, and his aura suddenly changed, with a hint of decay, but his strength skyrocketed, rushing straight from law manifestation 3rd grade to 9th grade. A long whip appeared above his head, emitting golden light. The aura it emitted was even sharper than Ling Yi's sword, but just a little bit colder. Brother, you forced me to do this. I didn't want to use my ultimate move. Mu Lao imitated Fang Zhang's tone and said fiercely. Ling Yi held the sword more cautiously. He didn't know what secret method the man in front of him used to increase his strength so much, but he was prepared. He had used this secret technique before, and its strength was at most comparable to his own, and it didn't last long. He only needed to be on guard against his desperate attack, and then he would be at my mercy. Ling Yi was on full alert, guarding against Fang Zheng's ultimate move. Look at me, I'm going to whip the world to pieces. Fang Xiang roared, and an aura far exceeding that of Law Manifestation Realm 9th grade burst out. Ling Yi's heart was shocked. As expected, he has a secret weapon. From the name, it sounds like a powerful weapon, but I have never seen him use it before. Ling Yi concentrated all his attention on preparing for this attack, and his vital energy poured out freely. But then he froze. Where are the people? Where is the vigorous momentum just now? He saw Fang Xiang in front of him had already run hundreds of meters away, his legs were almost smoking, and he disappeared in just a breath. At that speed, Ling Yi asked himself that even if he went 3 times faster, he would still not be able to catch up. Grass, a type of plant. Ling Yi's impotent rage was heard from the spot. He chopped all the earthworms within a radius of 300 meters until there was not a single one left. Chapter 12. Prince Rebellion, Border Unrest. Qian Do Sheng. Sifang Pavilion. Zhang Dian had already left, and the remaining envoys from Feng Kingdom and the 7th Prince of Liang Kingdom hid together. The 3rd grade official of Feng State who was not worthy of having a name had long lost the arrogance he had before coming, and stood beside the 7th Prince of Liang State with a humble look on his face. Because he knew they were no longer safe. The previous scene had already frightened him to death. Only the 7th Prince and the old guards around him could give him a sense of security. He followed the 7th Prince wherever he went, even when he went to the toilet he had to wait outside. 7th Prince, do you think we should run away before it gets dark? I think the Qian Kingdom has evil intentions and doesn't take us seriously at all. When we return to the capital, I will report this to the king. The unnamed official said angrily, forcing a smile. Tuoba who looked at him with disdain. What the hell is this? Although Qian Kingdom is not strong, it is still much stronger than your Feng Kingdom. The 2 countries were fooled around by the 3 vassal kings of Qian State. They were sold out and are still counting money for others. He knew that even if the Marquis Anil of Yun State had not been beheaded at the city gate, their 2 caravans would never be able to return to their respective countries. If he hadn't wanted to use the Feng Kingdom's envoy team to block the bullets, I wouldn't even pay attention to them. They even followed me to the toilet. If he was outside the city, I would have killed him long ago. Don't worry, sir. Qian has already offended Yun, so they won't do anything to us, unless they want to destroy the country and declare war on the 3 kingdoms. They don't have the ability to do that yet. Besides, I am here. Even if they are blinded by greed, I will take you away safely. You can go back and have a rest first. I am going to bed too. Tuoba who pretended to comfort the envoy. The unnamed official felt a little relieved. He also wanted to have a candlelit night chat with the 7th Prince and sleep in the same bed with him, but after seeing the look in the 7th Prince's eyes, he gave up and had to leave. Waste. After the man left, Tuoba who snorted and looked at the old guard. Commander Sun, how is it? Do you sense any danger? The old man looked relaxed at the moment and spoke confidently. Your Highness, rest assured. I have only sensed 1 law manifestation realm in the Imperial Palace, and I have just broken through it. I estimate it is only law manifestation 1st grade. It is not difficult to take it down. In the great Qian capital, I can come and go freely. If there is no army besieging me, even taking the head of Emperor Qian would be as easy as taking something out of a bag. Tuoba who felt very sad. The old man's words allowed him to sleep well today. Tuoba who narrowed his eyes in the direction of the Imperial Palace and sneered. No matter how conspiracies you have, I will break them all by myself, and I will definitely have a share of the spoils of Qian Kingdom. Dingyang Prefecture. Prince Ning Li Chengwan put on a precious armor that he had not worn for many years and wore a scimitar at his waist. Nephew, and Prime Minister Li, you can't grasp this great money, so let me do it. Tongzhou Prefecture. King Zhao Li Chengfeng issued a military order. Come here, pass on my order, organize the army and prepare for war. Li Linfu, the treacherous Prime Minister of Qiandu, has held the emperor hostage, seized government affairs, killed envoys, and disrupted the fate of our great Qian. Follow me to purge the emperor and punish the treacherous ministers. Linchong Prefecture. King Wei Li Ju lit a stick of incense on the spirit tablet in the morning hall, knelt for an hour, and then left suddenly. Only a whisper remained lingering in the morning hall. Father, I have waited for this day for many years. As orders continued to be issued from the 3 royal palaces, hundreds of thousands of troops were ready to go, waiting for the order. Great Qian would be torn into pieces in the hands of its own people until it welcomed its final master. In this bleak atmosphere, the sky of Great Qian also began to become extremely gloomy, as if foreshadowing the arrival of a disaster. Huaiyang Prefecture. A middle-aged man in brocade clothes stood on a viewing platform, looking at the suddenly changing sky and sighed slightly. Father, the weather has changed. It's probably going to rain. Should we wait until the rain stops or leave before it starts? Behind him, a young man with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes stepped forward and stood side by side with Zhu Wang. The middle-aged man stretched out his right hand outside the courtyard. 2 drops of rain had already fallen, which brought another sigh from him. It's too late to leave before the rain starts. I don't know how long this rain will last. I don't want to wait. Let's go now. The middle-aged man took a step forward, jumped out of the observation deck and landed on the ground, and the young man behind him followed. The two walked in the rain towards the city center. There is the most respected mansion in Huaiyang Prefecture. Huaiyang Marquis Mansion. The northern border of Qian State. General Li Tianba, the general who guards the north, climbed up Yumen Pass. This is the first checkpoint between Qian and Liang. Li Tianba has been guarding this place for 30 years. Sir, the Liang army has made a big move. 300,000 soldiers have advanced 20 miles and set up camp. The spies have reported that the army's defenses have become tighter, and there are teams transporting food and convoys carrying siege equipment in the rear. I suspect that Liang country intends to invade our border again. A deputy general reported the latest discoveries to Li Tianba. Li Tianba frowned. He is feeling a lot of pressure now. Even though he had been guarding this place for 30 years and had experienced hundreds of battles, big and small, the most serious of which was when the 800,000-strong army of Liang went into battle, he had never felt such pressure. The current situation of Great Qian is really too complicated. Although he was guarding the border, he also saw everything that happened in Qiandu. However, there has been no news from Qiandu for a day. He didn't think that the third prince who was held hostage by Prime Minister Li had any deterrent power. Especially the 3 great princes. If the late emperor were still alive, no matter how bad he was, the 3 great vassal kings would not dare to move. They would have no reason to go to war, and even if all 3 armies came out together, they would not be able to win the support of the people, nor the military, and would surely fail. But now it's different. The 3 great princes will certainly raise an army to support the king under the pretext of clearing the court of corrupt officials. This is above board. Sometimes war just needs a reason. At this time, the Liang army moved, and it was not a simple matter for anyone to imagine. Li Tianba thought again of the diplomatic delegation that went to Kyoto a few days ago, and a cloud of gloom grew in his heart. If the 3 kingdoms united and the 3 vassal kings raised their armies at the same time, even if he gave up the border and the Marquis of Huaiyang led his troops to rescue him, Great Qian would still be in danger. Moreover, he couldn't move. If he doesn't move, even if the 3 vassal kings win, Great Qian will still be named Li. If he moves, Great Qian will no longer have any chance of existing. He knew that the 3 great princes also knew that he would not come back to help. Pass the order and prepare for battle. Have the brothers be mentally prepared. In this battle, be ready to die at any time. This battle is the life and death of Great Qian. If we win, I will make sure that the barbarians of Liang will not dare to set foot in my Qian country for 10 years. If we lose, I, Li Tianba, will die before all the soldiers. Whether Great Qian will survive forever depends on God's will. Chapter 13. The Slaughter in Sifang Pavilion, Tuobahu's Choice. Night falls. Today is Li Yun's second night at Transmigrate. Wait tomorrow. Great money was in his hand. Zhao Gao, who was waiting outside the door, looked inside with awe. Great Qian has never had such a mysterious and powerful emperor. He had already swallowed the realm-breaking pill and entered the 3rd grade of law manifestation, but the aura emanating from the emperor shook his mind. With such an emperor, why should Great Qian not prosper? Many men in black came from outside Sifang Pavilion and kept sneaking into the pavilion. It's just strange that there is not a single guard in the Sifang Pavilion today. They were not the Jinyiwei, but the prince's men. The order to kill the envoys of the 2 countries was what they had received many days ago. Although the situation in Qiandu changed rapidly, since there was no instruction to change the mission, they could only follow the previous instructions. The only change is that there is one less mission target. They moved swiftly, their skills were agile, and their knives were sharp. People kept dying quietly in their sleep without making any sound. But out of their sight. Tuobahu and the other 2 stood on the roof, looking at the men in black who were moving around in the Sifang Pavilion with sneers on their faces. The prince's men assassinated the envoy, and Qiandu was completely defenseless. It is impossible that they didn't notice it at all and didn't come out to stop it. It's strange, Commander Sun, I still feel something is not right. The water in Great Qian is a bit deep, and it doesn't look that simple. Tuobahu frowned suddenly. Commander Sun disagreed. Don't worry, Your Highness. I can protect Your Highness. No, let's go quickly, something is wrong. Tuobahu felt more and more uneasy. Leave. You can't leave. A burst of orderly footsteps was heard, and hundreds of people wearing black flying bird uniforms quickly surrounded everyone in the Sifang Pavilion. All the men in black who entered the mansion were killed in less than half an hour. Zhang Dian, the Minister of Rights, came out and said loudly, the vassal king plotted rebellion and assassinated the envoys of the three kingdoms in Sifang Pavilion, blaming Great Qian and intending to start a war. Fortunately, our great Qian Jinyue saw through it and strangulated all the rebels here, but the envoys of the three kingdoms have unfortunately died. For this, our great Qian deeply regrets the three kingdoms. Your Highness, the seventh prince, do you think my remarks are justified? Tuobahu's expression changed slightly. No matter whether it makes sense or not, countries only need a reason to argue with each other. Now the situation is developing more and more wrong. It was according to his expectations. It should be that the envoys of the three kingdoms entered Qiandu. At the same time, the envoys of Feng Kingdom and Yun Kingdom were in trouble in Great Qian, and the vassal kings went to quell the disaster. At the same time, the army of Liang Kingdom pressed on the border, delaying Li Tianba and leaving him no time to return to provide assistance. Even if the Marquis of Weiyang ignored the threat from the Xiwandishan Mountains, he would not be able to save the Great Qian. He was striving to gain greater capital and voice for himself in Qiandu. Eventually, the prince took control of Great Qian. The two kingdoms occupied Dingyang and Tongzhou prefectures. Li Tianba was alone and could not resist. The Liang Kingdom took the most prosperous Pingchang and approached Qiandu. Within 3 years, the state of Qian will be devoured until nothing remains. Everyone is happy and the merit is fulfilled. Master Zhang, let's not talk about the reasons for now. What makes you think you can take us down? Is it the new law manifestation in the palace, or those old immortals in your imperial mausoleum? If you can't defeat us, no reason can stop the fate of Qian Kingdom's demise. Tuobahu looked at everyone with a mocking expression. The old man beside him took a step forward and stood in the air. Law manifestation is the symbol of a strong person who can walk in the air. The shadow of a dog appeared behind him, and its shape was almost solid, about to enter the law manifestation 4th grade realm. The old man looked arrogant. Can you, a country bumpkin from Qian country, trap me? Do you believe that I can enter Qian palace and take the head of your little emperor and leave safely? Puchi. Zhang Dian couldn't help laughing. If it was a day ago, the law manifestation 3rd grade would have scared him, but now. After seeing the tip of the iceberg of Jinyue, he felt that law manifestation 3rd grade was shit. How dare you be so presumptuous in front of me, the law manifestation realm? Today, I sentence you to death. The old man was furious when he saw Zhang Dian's behavior and was about to take action. But before he could move, he found that his body was unable to move at all, and several pressures were applied to him. All of these pressures are law manifestation realm. Even the state of perfection of law manifestation. Commander Sun, they are so calm, they must have something to rely on. To be on the safe side, it is better to retreat first. Tuobahu did not notice the old man's abnormality and said carefully. The maid next to him also stood behind him with some worry. The old man felt bitter. Run. Run for your A. Do you think I can still move? The old man felt that if he dared to move a step, he would be torn into pieces on the spot. 7th Prince, don't think about resisting or retreating. You are still useful now. His Majesty will not kill you for the time being. There is no need to keep this law manifestation realm. Zhang Dian said. Before Tuobahu could react, he found that the old man had already knelt down. Sir, I am not from Liang. I have a deep blood feud with Liang. I have been undercover in Liang for many years just to have a chance to kill the old emperor. Please spare my life. I am willing to serve the emperor at all costs. By the way, I have spent dozens of nights with the 7th prince's wife. I was the one who arranged for her to enter the prince's mansion in order to cause chaos in Liang country. Please understand. The old man's tearful words left Tuobahu and his maid dumbfounded and their worldviews shattered. Tuobahu suddenly felt as if a horse was galloping above his head, and he became extremely furious. Commander Sun, you beast, I thought you were still a loyal servant. No wonder that BCH said she was not feeling well last time and specifically asked you to help her get rid of the discomfort. So this is what she was talking about. Grass. Green plants. The old man retorted. 7th Prince, you can't blame me for this. I found the princess consort from a brothel. I trained her just to win your favor. If you take the throne in the future, it will be easier for me to overthrow the royal family. Who knows that you are in such bad shape that you can't satisfy her? What can I do? Puff. Tuobahu spat out a mouthful of blood, filled with grief and anger. He was wondering why that BCH always had such a strong desire, and she also knew so many positions that made him lose his temper in a few seconds. It turned out that she was really a BCH. Brush. The long sword was unsheathed, and the old man's head suddenly flew into the sky with a hint of disbelief on his face. Shit. That was sloppy. Nima was overwhelmed by the momentum and forgot to defend himself. After all, Tuobahu had the cultivation level of Dao Palace realm, and he attacked suddenly, and the old man had no time to react at all. Then, Tuobahu slashed the neck of the maid behind him with another knife. You heard secrets that you shouldn't have heard, so you should die too. The maid covered her neck and spit out blood. Damn it, I already knew these secrets. The maid was unwilling to fall and died with her eyes open. Tuobahu had blood all over his face, disheveled hair, and looked like a madman. He pointed his sword at the Jiniwei group with a determined look in his eyes. I, Tuobahu, am the 7th prince of Daliang. I will die standing. Well, since you choose to die, I will grant you death. No, no, that's not what I mean. I don't want to die standing up. I choose to live, live on my knees. Tuobahu dropped his sword and knelt down with a thud. This is following your heart. Chapter 14. King Wei defected and signed in with 3 generals. Inside the Great Qian precinct, Prince Ning and Prince Zhao's armies of 200,000 men each are approaching Chengkun Prefecture, and further ahead is Tongtian City. Among the 12 cities of Chengkun, Tongtian City is the only way to enter Chengkun Prefecture. The Wei River cut off the passages to several prefectures, so they could only enter through Tongtian City. After breaking through Tongtian City, they could go straight into Gandu. If you take a detour, you will need to travel thousands of miles and pass through Huaiyang Prefecture. As for Marquis Huaiyang, no one knew what was in his mind, and the 3 kings did not dare to bet on his position. However, Tongtian City has tens of thousands of defenders, and the defending commander is General Feng Tai, who is known as the First Shield of Great Qian. They have plenty of experience in defending a city. Although tens of thousands of defenders cannot stop an army of hundreds of thousands, it is not difficult to hold out for 2 or 3 days. Among the 3 prefectures, only Linchong Prefecture of King Wei Liju could bypass Tongtian City. With the army approaching, Tongtian City was captured in a pincer attack. Then he gathered an army of 600,000 and attacked Gandu in one fell swoop. Even if the Marquis of Huaiyang came to support, he would be helpless. Afterwards, he gathered the power of Great Qian, annexed Feng Kingdom and Yun Kingdom, and the 3 vassal kings divided the world into 3 parts. This is the conspiracy of the 3 kings. The 2 armies gathered together and approached the city. The 2 armored princes also gathered together, and they did not persuade them to surrender. Because Feng Tai is a straightforward person who only knows how to guard Tongtian City. He won't pay any attention to anything they say. Now they can only wait for King Wei, and time should be running out soon. However, what they didn't know was that on the city wall, there were already several people looking down coldly. One of them was the king of Wei, Li Ju, whom they had placed high hopes on. Also, there is the defender of Tongtian City, Feng Tai. King Wei, I don't quite understand why you turned against your side in the middle of a battle. Feng Tai was very confused as he looked at the army approaching from below. He was frightened when King Wei Liju entered the city. A great vassal king quietly entered his general's mansion and told him in detail the conspiracy among the 3 great vassal kings, which frightened him and made him break out in a cold sweat. He was still skeptical at first. The intentions of the 3 great vassal kings are known to everyone in Great Qian. This is also the reason why he was ordered to guard this place. If it weren't for the secret agent from the royal guards who brought the secret order from the royal family, he would still be immersed in his dream. Li Ju was dressed in Confucian clothes, looking like a scholar. I have never betrayed Great Qian. My father brought Great Qian to an unprecedented height, but now Great Qian is in tatters. I don't want to see this situation, but I can do nothing about it. Now my only wish is that the new emperor can take Great Qian to a whole new level, the level that my father had in mind. My deceased brother is not good enough, and my 2 short-sighted brothers are even worse. So I'll leave it to my nephew. Li Ju looked in the direction of Gandu. Feng Tai understood a little. Prince Ning and Prince Zhao were brothers, and this Prince Wei was the brother of the late emperor. He is also the son of the late emperor who was ambitious and full of lofty words. The death of the previous emperor was the pain of Great Qian and the beginning of the decline of Great Qian. When the previous emperor ascended the throne, in order to prevent chaos in Great Qian, he had to infect 3 kings and let them each unify their own territory. Otherwise, if Great Qian was in civil war, the people would suffer. And the king of Wei never cared about the throne from beginning to end. All he thought about was the enemies of Great Qian and the future. King Wei, there are 400,000 troops below, and our city defenders are less than 70,000. With your 200,000 troops, we can still defend the city. If we fight, I'm afraid we will suffer heavy losses. Even if we win, it will be a miserable victory, which will hurt the foundation of our Great Qian country. Feng Tai still felt a little uncomfortable. No matter what the outcome of the battle is, the losers are the people of Great Qian. Who said there are only 200,000 troops? Don't worry, General Feng. His Majesty has already made arrangements. I, Great Qian, will take down these 400,000 troops without bloodshed. Li Ju smiled slightly, full of confidence. Tongzhou Prefecture, Langcheng. This is a city at the outermost edge of Tongzhou Prefecture, close to Tongtian City. The second prince had rushed here overnight and found an inn to stay in. On the way, he saw the army of Zhao Wang Li Chengfeng setting off. He wanted to go back and report the news, but thinking of the arrangements made by the mysterious third brother, he ignored it. I think these should be under his control. At this moment, a man in black suddenly appeared in his inn. Your Highness, the second prince, His Majesty has ordered that when Prince Zhao and Prince Ning return, someone will assist you. Then you can arrest them for treason and take over the army. Within 7 days, you will first destroy the Yun kingdom and then conquer Fengyu. Li Gande was startled by the order. Let's not talk about how the third prince made the two kings return. Just the order to destroy the two countries was a bit outrageous. These are two dynasties, not two cities. Can they be destroyed just like that? But then he became excited. He had been in the army for many years, and fighting on the battlefield was his favorite. Destroying a country has a unique flavor. Moreover, Great Qian's national strength is not actually weak. It is just because of the beast chaos in the Shiwen Mountains and the containment of the Liang army, and the division of the three vassal kings, it seems extremely weak. But if Great Qian is unified and harmonious, what are the two countries of Fengyan? Yandu. Li Linfu and Gongsun Li walked out of the imperial palace. The emperor's words still lingered in their minds. My dear ministers, please prepare yourself. After we take over the three prefectures today, we will use our military force against the two nations of Fengyan. Please prepare the logistics and do not hold back the army on the front line. Also, officials in the three prefectures and throughout the country must be rescreened. The weak will be demoted and the capable will be promoted. In my Great Qian, the capable will be promoted. I will conquer the two countries within 7 days, and within half a month, I will also plant the flag of Great Qian on Liangdu. The emperor's domineering and unfathomable aura and irresistible tone made it impossible for them to even think of refuting. In the imperial palace, Li Yun sat high on the dragon chariot. System, sign in. Ding. Signing in. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed in with 3 character cards. Bai Qi, void refining is complete, practicing the way of killing. Huo cubing, early stage of void refining. Chen Qingzi, early stage of void refining. Possessed by the European emperor. Li Yun was a little surprised. 3 character cards were opened at once. It's still these 3 characters. Bai Qi, the god of killing, cultivates the way of killing and reaches the perfect state of void refining. Huo Cubing, the champion marquis, was the most meritorious among the entire army and was granted the title of Wolf's Lair. Chen Qingzi, the white horse champion. Famous teachers and generals should not be arrogant, and thousands of soldiers and horses will avoid the white robes. Li Yun suddenly felt that his goal of destroying Fengyan in 7 days and Biliang in half a month was a bit conservative. If I had signed these 3 character cards yesterday, I would have killed those 2 princes overnight. Use the summon card. The void trembled, and 3 people appeared out of thin air from the imperial palace. A tall, stern man exuding a murderous aura made the entire palace feel a little chillier. A man with a face as white as brocade, delicate eyebrows and eyes, wearing golden armor, and with a body as straight as a pine tree. One of them was wearing a white robe, looking somewhat weak, with the demeanor of a Confucian general. Your Majesty. The 3 bowed their heads at the same time. Because they are produced by the system, all the characters that appear have the same worldview as Li Yun, just like the Jinyue summoned before. 3 generals, please stand up. Li Yun had a smile on his face and was happy in his heart. Your Majesty, our Great Qian is full of talented people. How can we be confined to a place where hundreds of countries are located and be ranked alongside so many weak countries? I challenge you to a fight. As soon as Bai Qi spoke, the air was filled with murderous intent and a strong fighting spirit. Your Majesty, I, too, would like to fight. Huo Cubing and Chen Qingzi said at the same time. Great. If the 3 of you have such a heart, why should I, Great Qian, not be worried about prosperity? Huo Cubing, Chen Qingzi, listen to my orders. I am here. The 2 generals will set off now. General Huo will go to Yumun Pass and lead Li Tianba to attack Liang State. General Chen went to Langcheng, Tongzhou Prefecture, to serve as Li Gande's deputy general and take down the 2 countries of Fengyan. Remember, don't use your skills above the void refining realm unless it's absolutely necessary. Be careful not to attract the attention of the Yin-Yang sect. I obey your orders. The 2 left at the same time to report. As for why he was not directly appointed as the commander-in-chief, Li Yun also had some considerations. After all, they are newcomers. If they are directly appointed as the commander-in-chief, the soldiers will naturally be dissatisfied. It is also not good for the 2 to show their void refining realm cultivation, otherwise it will attract the investigation of Yin-Yang sect and the loss will outweigh the gain. Now he is not ready to face Yin-Yang sect directly. After this battle, the 2 of them can lead an army each. Your Majesty. Bai Qi watched the 2 men leave and looked at Li Yun eagerly. Li Yun chuckled. General Bai, I have a more important task for you. At the easternmost end of the land of 100 nations, there is a canyon. That is the passage between the eastern wilderness and the land of 100 nations. It is also the place where the people from Yin-Yang sect descend every time. You will guard there during this period of time. If there is any unusual movement, report it back immediately. If it is below the void refining realm, don't worry about it. If it is at the void refining realm, find a way to capture it. There shouldn't be any existence above the void refining realm. Yes, your majesty. Bai Qi seemed to have no enthusiasm for fighting, but he could not refuse his majesty's order. Li Yun shook his head. General Bai, rest assured, your battlefield is in the eastern wilderness. After I unify the lands of the 100 kingdoms, the next step will be the eastern wilderness. The first battle will definitely be yours. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 15. The Second King Falls, Great Qian Unified Harmony. The residence of the sixth princess. Li Yuehua stood up suddenly. What's going on? How come I suddenly felt a few fleeting auras from the virtual world? Clearly, none of the hundreds of nations sensed a breakthrough. Moreover, how could a virtual world appear in this shabby place? Then she shook her head again. I guess I've been a little crazy lately, it's all because of that damn thief. Why hasn't Ling Yi delivered the things yet? He's already at the law manifestation 9th grade, is it possible that he could fail? Under Tongtian City. Several hours have passed. What's going on? King Ning Li Chengwan looked at the quiet Tongtian City and was very confused. According to the agreement with the King of Wei, once the two kings' armies arrive, King Wei's army will launch an attack within 2 hours and surround Tongtian City. It has been more than an hour now, why hasn't the King of Wei taken any action yet? Did something unexpected happen? Prince Zhao Li Chengfeng also frowned, and a trace of uneasiness flashed through his heart. Brother Wang, we can't wait any longer. Something might have happened to Li Ju. Let's attack with all our might. Even without Li Ju, we can still take down Tongtian City. It's just that this will be a bigger sacrifice, but for the sake of the throne, this is a sacrifice that must be made. The two men then discussed for a while and returned to their own military camps at the same time to prepare for an attack. On the city wall, Li Ju and Feng Tai looked at the movement below and realized that the second king could not hold back any longer. King Wei, they are about to attack the city. Feng Tai reminded. Li Ju smiled slightly. It's almost time. General Feng, please open the city gate and follow me out of the city to meet the enemy. When the two kings led hundreds of thousands of troops to attack the city, they saw that the gate of Tongtian City was wide open. Teams of soldiers walked out of the city gate. The two of them are even more familiar with each other now. It was Wei Wang Li Ju and the city gate guard Feng Tai. Li Ju. Why is he in the city? Has he taken over Tongtian City? King Ning said with some joy. King Zhao did not have such a good attitude. Li Ju didn't look like he was here to greet him and others. But in a fighting stance. My two brothers, I haven't seen you for a long time. How have you been recently? Li Ju's voice came. King Zhao frowned and responded, Li Ju, what do you mean? We have agreed before to purge the emperor's court. Have you been instigated by Li Linfu to rebel? In our great Qian, the emperor and his subjects are of one mind, so how can there be any talk of clearing the emperor's entourage? If you two princes have nothing to do, you should withdraw your troops. It would be bad if such a large-scale battle were to be misunderstood as a rebellion. Li Ju replied. Both Prince Zhao and Prince Ning were somewhat angry. They didn't know why Li Ju changed sides at the last minute, but he had now hindered their progress. With his 200,000 strong army and the defenders in the city, it is not impossible for us to capture him, but the losses will be too great. The king of Zhao said in a serious tone, Li Ju, if you retreat now, I will not hold you responsible. After we have eliminated the corrupt officials, you will still be the king of Wei. But if you stop us today, I am afraid that even with your 200,000 men, you will not be able to stop us. Li Ju laughed and pointed to the west. Who said 200,000? Just listen. Then there was a rumbling sound, the sound of running. King Zhao looked at it intently. There was a dark mass in the distance, at least hundreds of thousands of troops. With the strength of the second king law manifestation realm, he could see at a glance that there was a tiger-shaped pattern engraved on the military flag in the front. Marquis Huaiyang's Black Tiger Army. The two kings' faces changed drastically at the same time. They didn't expect that not only the king of Wei would turn against them, but even the Marquis of Huaiyang would send a large army. It is impossible that there would be no noise when an army of hundreds of thousands of troops set out. How could they not receive any news at all? Alas, my two brothers, please listen to my advice and go back to where you came from. I don't want brothers to fight against each other. After all, these are all the people of Great Qian. Li Ju sighed and advised. Second brother, this situation cannot be achieved. It is better to retreat for the time being. King Ning's face was solemn. The king of Zhao's face was extremely gloomy at this moment. He gritted his teeth and said, return to the city. Looking at the army retreating in embarrassment, Feng Tai gave Li Ju a thumbs up. King Wei, great. He even managed to get the Black Tiger army of Marquis Huaiyang. Li Ju shook his head. How can I do that? Everything is His Majesty's will. I just need to do it. As for what happens next, it is beyond my control. The two kings were on the march. Are we just going to let this matter go? We have been planning for a long time, and now is a godsend opportunity. If we miss it, once Qiandu stabilizes, we will have no chance and can only stay in this prefecture. King Ning's tone was full of unwillingness. The king of Wei looked gloomy. Brother Wang, please follow me to Langcheng for a rest. We still need to think about this matter carefully. Wei Yanghu's Black Tiger army is good at fighting, and with the traitor Li Ju's army, we have no chance of winning. But the two of them would never have thought that someone was already waiting in Langcheng, and that would be their end. It took another 2 hours for the two to reach Langcheng. The main army was stationed outside, and only a few direct generals followed the two kings into the city. This is King Zhao's territory, so he has nothing to worry about. When the two stepped into the city lord's mansion, someone they had never expected was already waiting for them. Qianda. King Zhao was very surprised. How are the two uncles? Li Qian bowed to the two uncles. What are you doing here? King Ning asked in a bad tone, and at the same time looked around to see if there was any strong man around. I'm here to invite you two uncles to go to Qiandu to confess your crimes. Li Qian still appeared polite. But his words made King Ning draw his sword and shout. Nephew, have you suddenly gone crazy? I wonder if I can open a road to Qiandu if I capture you. Li Qian chuckled, then his face turned serious. By order of the emperor, Prince Ning Li Chengwan and Prince Zhao Li Chengfeng have disturbed our great Qian and raised troops without authorization. They are guilty of treason and are now to be captured. Those who disobey will be executed. King Zhao suddenly sneered. Why, nephew? It's fine if you didn't get the throne, but why did you become Prime Minister Li's running dog? Li Qian snorted. Your Majesty is wise and powerful. I, Great Qian, have abolished the position of Prime Minister and now call him Li Shufu. Moreover, the two uncles may not know that Qiandu was a river of blood yesterday. Your Majesty beheaded hundreds of officials, both big and small, and implicated thousands of people. The Great Qian of today is not the Great Qian of the past. Under the leadership of the new emperor, the Great Qian will rise step by step to a height that you cannot even imagine. The second king's expression changed slightly. They didn't get this information. Your Majesty, are you referring to that ordinary nephew of the third emperor? However, it is impossible to make them surrender. Considering that they have been separatist in Great Qian for many years and are even planning to rebel, this is a capital crime punishable by confiscation of property and extermination of the clan. There is no point in saying more. My second nephew must have come prepared. King Zhao took out a spear, and a solid crown appeared behind him with a hint of golden color. I am actually at the law manifestation 6th grade level, just a step away from entering the 7th grade. Prince Ning was no less capable. A long sword that was about to solidify appeared behind him, law manifestation 3rd grade realm. Pa. Li Qian clapped and sighed. Alas, the two uncles are indeed worthy of being the children of the royal family. Now it seems that I am really a bit of a drag. It's a pity that I am not your opponent. Two people wearing red bird costumes suddenly appeared at the door. Two deputy commanders of the Jinyiwei appeared at the same time. A man on the left waved his right hand, and the vitality of the palace surged, instantly isolating the sound from this place. No matter how loud the noise is inside, no one outside will notice it. Law manifestation 9th grade. King Zhao said word by word. Deputy commander of the embroidered uniform guard Shen Zuo and Shen Yu, greet the two princes. The two men bowed at the same time. King Zhao was puzzled. Jinyiwei. Yes, our emperor personally set up the Jinyiwei, which has the power to supervise all officials and patrol and arrest people. This time, for the sake of the two uncles, several thousand commanders have come, and even the two deputy commanders have come in person. Li Qian answered their doubts. King Zhao smiled bitterly. I have been planning for many years and have waited for such a godsend opportunity. I never expected it. However, if Great Qian really has such a day, Qianda, you can take a look for me. After he finished speaking, a brilliant golden light flashed, and he actually overdrew his Qian blood, entering the 7th grade realm. Come, kill me. Prince Zhao attacked the two Jinyi guards with a spear in his hand, determined to fight to the death. Shen Zuo and Shen Yu looked at each other. Two long swords were unsheathed and disappeared at the same time. They brushed past King Zhao's body, leaving a trail of blood. With one blow, a generation of vassal kings died. Second brother. Prince Ning looked at Prince Zhao's corpse with a trace of sadness in his eyes. The long knife in his hand flashed, and he committed suicide here. Li Qian also had a complicated expression. The pair of vassal kings who separated Great Qian finally met their final fate. Gentlemen, I wonder what should be done with the families of the two uncles Wang. Li Qian looked at Shen Zuo and Shen Yu. Shen Zuo replied, Your Highness, this matter is under the jurisdiction of His Majesty. We have already taken control of the families of the two kings and are sending them to Qiandu. Your Highness will handle the rest. We have also dealt with the second prince's direct descendants. Li Qian nodded. Then he took the tokens of the two kings and the heads of his direct generals and went to the military camp outside the city. My fellow soldiers, the two kings have committed treason and have surrendered. In this battle, we will only punish the ringleaders. You are all citizens of Great Qian. Do you wish for your compatriots to kill each other? Do you wish that our great Qian would be plunged into war again, with lives lost and people displaced? Would you like the great Qian we inhabit to be torn apart and disappear into the long river of history? Would you like to follow me to conquer all corners of the world, ride on my horse to trample over hundreds of countries, and plant the flag of great Qian in all of them? Without the instigation of the two kings and the leadership of some generals, the remaining infantry were easily dealt with. After all, no one wants to fight an unwinnable war in their own place, especially a war at the lowest moral point. As the second prince of the royal family and the emperor's edict of appointment, Li Qian easily became the commander of an army of more than 400,000. Great Qian unified harmony from this moment, and the journey to conquer the two countries also began from this moment. Before the army set out, a figure in a white robe came galloping from a distance and merged into the army. Chapter 16, Huo Qubing reports, requesting troops to enter Liang. Inside Tongtian City, everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief as they felt the army moving away. Your Majesty actually calculated every step and had already arranged people to wait in Langcheng, and he easily captured the two princes. Li Ju developed a strong curiosity about the emperor's nephew whom he had never met. It can be said that from the moment the Jinwei showed up at his residence yesterday until now, every step he took was arranged by others. Even Li Linfu might not know his feelings, but his nephew guessed it exactly. King Wei, since the matter here is over, I will return to the palace to report. Recently, the Shiwen Mountains have been restless, and monsters appear from time to time. We can't leave for too long. A general in black armor clasped his fists towards King Wei and said. General Liu, thank you for coming all the way here. The King of Wei also returned the salute. The one in front of him is the general of the Black Tiger Army. He has 100,000 Black Tiger soldiers under his command, and they are the main force to deal with the 10,000 mountains. If something goes wrong, it would be a sin. The King of Wei's words are too serious. We are here only on orders. After saying this, the black-armored general turned around and led his troops to leave. Watching the army go away, Li Ju also said to Feng Tai. General Feng, I need to go to Qiandu, so I will go ahead. Your Highness, Prince Wei, take care. By order of His Majesty, I request to see the generals and Bei. The distant Yumun Pass. Huo Qubing, dressed in golden armor, has arrived at the Zhenbei military camp. Seeing that the visitor was so brave and courageous and that he was following orders from the emperor, the guards dared not say much and had to quickly report to the general. In less than half a cup of tea, Li Tianba came out to greet him in person. With just one glance, Li Tianba felt that this person was extraordinary. His aura is condensed without leaking out, as if he is returning to his original nature. Li Tianba even thought that he was just an ordinary person because he did not practice martial Dao. May I ask whose orders you are following? What are the orders? Li Tianba welcomed Huo Qubing into the military tent and dismissed his attendants. In compliance with the order of His Majesty the present Emperor, I am ordered to come here to report and serve as the vanguard in destroying Liang. Huo Qubing said briefly as he took out the imperial edict. Mie Liang. Li Tianba was suddenly shocked, and then a little angry. Given the current national conditions of Qian, it would be difficult to destroy Liang, let alone resist the attack from Liang. Where does His Majesty get the courage to give such an order? Is Your Majesty playing with the lives of his soldiers on the front line? Do you think it is so easy to destroy a country? Do you think it is so easy to start a war involving millions of people? But have you considered the consequences? Sir, I have never heard of you before Great Qian, and perhaps you don't know the current situation of Great Qian. Let me explain it to you. Li Tianba intended to explain the current situation to Huo Qubing. However, Huo Qubing waved his right hand. General, I know what you are going to say. If nothing goes wrong, now the King of Ning and the King of Zhao are dead, the King of Wei is heading to Qiandu alone, the Great Qian unified harmony, and the 400,000-man army is on its way to destroy the two countries of Fengyu. This marquis does not want to fall behind. Li Tianba stood up suddenly, his face full of shock. What? Are you telling the truth? Huo Qubing nodded and said seriously. If nothing goes wrong, the general should be able to get the news within an hour. Now that the chaos in Qiandu has subsided and the Jinwei has lifted the news blockade, it is expected that news from Qiandu will also be transmitted by that time. General, please make your own decision. Speed is of the essence in war. If the news can reach here, it can also reach Liang country. They are just pretending to attack now, so we will attack them by surprise. Li Tianba's face was gloomy. He didn't think the man in front of him was deceiving him. The imperial edict is also true. No matter who wins in Qiandu, no one will joke about hundreds of thousands of soldiers and the foundation of Great Qian. After a long time, Li Tianba raised his head and said seriously. Okay, I trust you, but Liang is much stronger than Qian. It ranks among the top 30 of the 100 nations. There are at least 10 law manifestation realms in the country. If the two armies go to war, the law manifestation realm will not be a big deal. But if they launch an assassination on the top leaders, we will be at a disadvantage. Huo Qubing smiled slightly. General, don't worry. Support from Qiandu will arrive soon. 9 law manifestations are enough to protect you. Li Tianba's heart, which had just calmed down, started beating again. 9. Law Manifestation Realm. Is Great Qian's capital so strong? Could it be that those antiques in the Imperial Mausoleum have come out? No. It's impossible. Those guys won't be able to appear unless Great Qian is about to die. Wow. I have never fought such a rich battle in my life. Because of the disadvantages of the Law Manifestation Realm, every battle with the Liang Kingdom was somewhat restricted. The 9 law manifestation realms mentioned by Huo Qubing are exactly the 9 disciples trained by Li Linfu. I have been ordered to come to the front line, but my speed is not as fast as his, I am a little slower. General Li, the Great Qian frontline has much fewer troops than Liang, but the general only needs to stabilize the situation. Once the news from Fengyan spreads, Liang will definitely send more troops to the east to guard the border, and the pressure here will be much less. And I need 3,000 elite soldiers to go deep into the enemy's belly. Then the general can act according to circumstances. Huo Qubing stated the main mission for this expedition. Li Tianba is not someone who does not understand military affairs. On the contrary, he has been in the army for decades and is the only general in Great Qian. He can understand it once it is explained. The war strategy proposed by Huo Qubing had 2 breakthroughs. One was to destroy the 2 countries of Feng and Yun and then march into Liang State, and the other was the 3,000 elite soldiers he wanted to penetrate deep into the enemy's heart. According to what this person said, he does not want to fall behind, which means he wants to use these 3,000 elite soldiers as the deciding factor in the war. But, how is it possible with 3,000 elite soldiers? The territory of Liang State is much larger than that of Qian State. It is a nomadic people with extremely loose personnel, existing in tribes one by one. Small tribes have dozens of people, while large tribes have hundreds of thousands of people. They are all civilians when they dismount and soldiers when they mount. There are hundreds of tribes in the entire Liang Kingdom. What use can more than 3,000 people be? General Huo, I think we need to think about this matter carefully. If 3,000 men were to go to Liang country, I'm afraid they wouldn't be able to make even a single wave. With the assistance of 9 law manifestation realm masters, I am confident that we can conquer Liang Kingdom within a year. Li Tianba persuaded. Huo Qubing shook his head and said, Your Majesty has ordered that Fengyan be taken down in 7 days and Liang State be taken down in half a month. If it takes only half a month, then I am incompetent. Nonsense. Li Tianba stood up and scolded. A war between 2 countries is no joke. Which one wouldn't take years? Half a month is impossible. Huo Qubing also stood up. General Li, I am not negotiating with you. Your vision is too narrow. It limits you to this city and this country. If you conquer the 3 kingdoms, there are still 100 kingdoms. If you conquer the 100 kingdoms, there is also the eastern wilderness. There is also a bigger world. If we have to waste all this time in a small country like Liang, how can we talk about the future? In 1 hour, I need to see 3,000 elite soldiers, the elite of the elite. Otherwise, I will go to Huaiyang Prefecture to borrow troops. After Huo Qubing finished speaking, he turned and left. Only Li Tianba was left pacing back and forth with a gloomy face, struggling between his inner thoughts and his conscience. Chapter 17. Huo Chen shows off his skills. Li Linfu offers advice to the intelligence department. An hour later, Huo Qubing, wearing golden armor, rushed out of the military camp with 3,000 elite soldiers. In the end, Li Tianba managed to gather 3,000 elite troops. The elite among the elite. He had selected them from hundreds of thousands of troops. The lowest level was innate 4th layer, and the best among them were from Dao Palace realm. He made this decision after receiving news from Qiandu and Tongtian City and the arrival of 9 law manifestation realms. He was still in shock until the 3,000 elite soldiers left the camp. The weak 3rd prince unexpectedly subdued Li Shang and the 2nd prince with lightning speed and killed half of the court officials. According to the spy's report, the city of Qiandu was flooded with blood that day and the smell of blood filled the air and did not dissipate until he left Qiandu. As for the vassal kings, the king of Wei was quietly instigated to rebel. The Marquis of Huaiyang dispatched the Black Tiger army to come to the rescue from 1,000 miles away. The 2nd prince easily defeated the 2nd king's 400,000 strong army. It shocked Li Tianba even more. With such an emperor, why worry about not achieving great things? Why worry that Great Qian's foundation cannot last for thousands of years? Especially that sentence from Your Majesty. Wherever the people of Great Qian see, it is Great Qian's territory. He even wanted to plant the Great Qian flag throughout the 4 extremities. What an ambitious plan. This is the lifelong wish of a soldier and general like him. A real man should make great achievements and die on the battlefield. Li Tianba also became proud for a moment. Come here, gather the 3 armies. I want to give a speech. In 3 hours, follow me to the battle. You will not return until you have defeated Liang. 3,000 riders galloped across the grassland. Because of the geographical location of Liang State, its territory is vast. Unlike Great Qian, it does not build city checkpoints. Therefore, the defense line was not tight, and the 3,000 cavalry easily found the weak point, bypassed the hundreds of thousands of troops on the front line, and entered the heartland of Liang State. The number of several thousand people is not noticeable in the prairie. General, what is the goal of this battle? Is it to sneak into Liangdu? Capture the king of Liang? A man with a sword on his back, who is half a horse behind Huo Qubing, asked. This person is the only law manifestation realm that Huo Qubing brought with him. Li Linfu's second disciple, law manifestation 9th grade realm. Huo Qubing reined in his horse, looked back at the 3,000 soldiers, and nodded. He hadn't said a word since he left the camp. These soldiers did not say a word and followed him with the mentality that they would die. It seems that Li Tianba is quite good at commanding the army. Huo Qubing said coldly, everyone, we have only one purpose when we go deep into Liang State, to kill. Except women and children, all will be killed. From here, we will fight our way to Liangdu, and use the swords in our hands to strike fear into the king and people of Liang. The border of Yun State. Leave the city. There were corpses everywhere inside and outside the city. The Great Qian army of 400,000 captured the city in just 1 hour. Of the 60,000 defenders, 30,000 were killed or wounded, and 30,000 surrendered. The Yun Kingdom is not a country that advocates martial Dao, but a country where civil officials are in power and they boast that their literary aura is the best among all countries. The total military strength of the country is only 500,000, and its combat power is extremely weak. In order to rebel, the two kings never slacked off in the training of their soldiers, and the combat power of the soldiers was much stronger than that of the Yun Kingdom. The national conditions of Feng and Yun are not much different, with Feng being slightly stronger. Therefore, the two countries often have to act according to the moods of the two kings. At this moment, on the city wall of Licheng, Chen Qingzi in white robe stood side by side with the second prince. The second prince looked at Chen Qingzi in amazement. This is a talented person. I don't know how your majesty found such a talent. His strength is unfathomable, but more importantly, his command ability. Even if the 60,000 Yun soldiers are weak, even if they are just 60,000 pigs, they can hold out for 3 to 5 hours. However, the white-robed general took the city in just 1 hour, with only a few thousand casualties on his side. Li Qian asked himself if he was a little bit short of it. Your Highness, Yun country is wealthy, but it does not value military power. I do not think 400,000 soldiers are needed, and a long journey would delay the opportunity to fight. I request that you lead 100,000 soldiers to enter Yundu within 2 days. Your Highness can lead the remaining troops to attack Feng country. I will take over Yundu and attack from both sides. We will try to destroy both countries within 5 days. Chen Qingzi was serious and clasped his fists towards the second prince, challenging him to a fight. Okay. Then let's divide our forces. General, we'll see you in Fengdu. The second prince did not hesitate. He is self-aware. This man's ability in marching and fighting is probably much worse than that of the generals in Bei. Your Majesty did not send him here to obey your orders, but to display his talents, accumulate merits, and take direct charge of the 3 armies. The next day. Qian-do. The king has abolished the morning court session once a day and changed it to once every 7 days, and all reports are submitted to the cabinet. Battle reports continued to be submitted from both directions. General Li Tianba, the great general of Zhenbei, led an army of 300,000 men to fight against the army of 500,000 men of Liang State on the Taihei Plain, and the two sides were evenly matched. A powerful person from the law manifestation realm of Liang country attempted to assassinate the general of the Zhenbei camp and was beheaded on the spot. White-robed General Chen Qingzi led an army of 100,000 to capture 3 cities in a row, and then personally led an army of 30,000 to attack Yundu. 3,000 elite cavalry appeared in the heart of Liang State and have slaughtered several small tribes. Liang State has taken it seriously and sent strong men to search for their whereabouts, but to no avail. The second prince's 300,000 troops have broken through the border of Feng Kingdom and killed more than 80,000 enemies. 3,000 elite cavalrymen from Liang were surrounded by tens of thousands of troops. They went in and out 7 times and finally left safely. Chen Qingzi's 30,000 troops will be able to reach the city of Yundu in 1 day. Quote. Good. Wonderful. Great Qian. Reports and cheers continued to be heard in the cabinet. At the same time, these battle reports were also placed on the desks of major officials. Even the restaurants, inns, streets and alleys of the major cities of Great Qian were talking about it. Emperor Yun ordered that all military reports, whether victory or defeat, be made public. This is the honor of the soldiers fighting on the front line and the honor of all the people of Great Qian. In a short period of time, the people of Great Qian were united and all praised the new emperor. There were many gangs that were originally causing chaos, but they all stopped their activities and dared not show their heads at all. In all the major cities, the teams of people signing up for military service formed long rivers, stretching out day and night. Inside the Imperial Palace, Li Yun sat in the deep palace, his power growing stronger and stronger. Li Linfu below couldn't help but sweat coldly. Li Qing, the territory of our Great Qian will become larger and larger, but the speed of information transmission is indeed a bit slow. Today, Great Qian's intelligence system comes from a bird called the blue sky falcon. This bird has no other advantages except that it is fast. You can travel 2,000 miles in half an hour. Faster than the law manifestation realm at full speed. But Li Yun felt it was not fast enough. The land of hundreds of countries covers hundreds of thousands of kilometers. If we only rely on this broken bird to transmit information, when we have conquered hundreds of countries in the future, an order given today will take a month to arrive. What kind of order is this? Li Linfu was also in a dilemma. Suddenly, an idea flashed in his mind and he thought of the person in the Void Realm in the Imperial Palace. Your Majesty, I have heard from Dugu Feng that a Void Realm expert can take a person's soul and breath to make a life plate. Even if the person is thousands of miles away, if the person dies, the life plate will break. We can raise species such as mice, number them, and set up an organization specifically responsible for transmitting intelligence. By strictly following the hierarchy and passing it on layer by layer, we can achieve rapid transmission of intelligence information. Li Yun slammed the table. Great. Li Qing's plan is feasible. Li Linfu said again, but Your Majesty, the making of the Fate Tablet is simple, but it is very expensive, and the cost of using this method to send messages is also not small. Li Yun waved his hand. It's okay. Currently, this method doesn't need to be used on a large scale. It can be used only to transmit emergency messages. When I destroy all the countries, will I still be worried about not having the resources? Li Qing, I'll leave this matter to you. I'm going to set up an intelligence department. I'll temporarily transfer some personnel from the Jinyue. You can take care of the rest by yourself. I'll provide the resources. Ask Ji Yuan, the commander of the Jinyue, to make the fate cards. I want every city and every army to have an intelligence department, both overt and covert. Do you understand? I understand. A trace of cold sweat broke out on Li Linfu's forehead again. In this way, news from all over the world will flow into Qiandu without time difference, and if any changes occur in various prefectures and armies, the court will be able to respond immediately. Back off. I'm leaving now. Li Linfu walked backwards out of the Imperial Palace. Li Yun chuckled. It's right to keep old Li. He has good foresight and a quick mind. He can handle court affairs with ease. Chapter 18. The sixth princess prepares to enter the palace, and the movement in the 10,000 mountains. Ding. Signing in. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed in for the high-level Dao Weapon 9 Dragon Sword. High-level Dao Weapon. Li Yun raised his eyebrows. Weapons are divided into mortal, magic, spiritual, Taoist, and holy. It is divided into 3 levels: low, medium and high. Advanced weapons are hard to come by. Innate and those below innate generally use mortal weapon. This is what most Dao Palace realms use. Law weapon is much more advanced than ordinary weapons. It requires special forging and the use of rare materials. Its power is also much higher than mortal weapon. Spirit weapons are even rarer, and can only be used by those in the Void Realm, otherwise they will be sucked dry if you are not careful. The sky-breaking halberd in Bai Chi's hand is a spirit weapon, a high-level spirit weapon at that, which comes with the system. The other 2 also had spears, and He Linsu also had spears. Not to mention Dao weapons. The materials used to forge them are probably not even found in the 100 countries. Dao weapons are extremely rare in the entire Eastern Wilderness. Not to mention Saint weapon, Eastern Wilderness saints rarely appear in the world, let alone Saint weapon. As soon as Li Yun thought about it, a long sword appeared in his hand. As soon as the long sword appeared, it began to vibrate continuously, and ripples appeared in the space. It seemed that the heaven and earth could not bear its weight. The sword was 3 feet and 8 inches long, and the blade was as thin as a cicada's wing. 9 winding golden dragons were engraved on it, and the blade was sharp. Li Yun swung the sword casually, and with the sharpness of the sword alone, he cut a crack in the space in front of him. Nice sword. Li Yun praised repeatedly. But then he sighed again. It's a pity that it's a Dao weapon. With my current strength, if I input even a little bit of my vitality into it, I'm afraid I'll be sucked into a mummy. Listen, this is human language. Many poor Dao realm warriors in the Eastern Wilderness do not even have a Dao weapon and are only using spirit weapons. He is at the void refining stage and yet he thinks the sword is too high level. At the moment Dao weapon appeared, at the 6th princess's residence in Qiandu. What the hell? What's going on? Is this, the aura of Dao weapon? The 6th princess, who had been waiting for an opportunity to find her, instantly became much more energetic and looked towards the direction of the Imperial Palace with a shocked expression. Then she slapped herself in the face. Bang. Damn, it hurts. It's real, not an illusion. But, how could Dao weapon appear in this land of hundreds of countries? In her previous life, she was a powerful person in Dao fusion realm. After working hard for so many years, she only had a low-level Dao weapon. So she decided to go into the palace and take a look. See if it's because my cultivation in this life is too low and there's something wrong with my perception. She also wanted to see her third brother. There has been a lot of news in Qiandu these past 2 days. There is no doubt that Great Qian has unified harmony. The power is in the hands of the third brother in the Imperial Palace. But she doesn't care about any of this. In her eyes, even if Great Qian unified the entire land of 100 countries, it would be meaningless. Even if you unify hundreds of countries, it's just playing house. A few elders from Yin-Yang sect could destroy all these years of hard work in one day. However, if she were really allowed to enter the palace now, she would still feel a little lacking in confidence. She could vaguely feel that the Imperial Palace was different now than before. Due to insufficient cultivation, one is indeed somewhat restricted. However, she has calculated that a secret realm will open in the 10,000 mountains in 2 days, and she has already refined a breath-concealing jade talisman that can hide her breath for 3 days. 3 days was enough time for him to break through the void-shattering realm. Then he would personally capture the thief and then return with the opportunity to hide for 2 years. I can go to the eastern wilderness and have fun again. Li Linfu acted quickly. In less than half a day, he had drawn 500 men from the Jinyue. He also drew 500 men from various armies to form an intelligence team. Then Qiandu began a large-scale rat-catching operation. The guards of Qiandu and soldiers from all departments were mobilized, and in just half a day, all the rats in Qiandu were wiped out. Li Linfu also sent messages to all prefectures and cities, preparing to catch rats. At the same time, he posted notices, offering rewards to people who raised rats and insects, and he accepted rewards from 300 rat breeders. Ji Yuan even worked overnight to produce tens of thousands of life cards. This is the limit of what Great Qian can produce at present. Li Linfu followed Li Yun's advice and made a code book, training many intelligence personnel on how to kill rats to transmit messages. The next day, many rat-carrying people rushed to various prefectures and the front lines, either openly or secretly. The intelligence group has only been initially established. As time goes by, deficiencies will be gradually discovered and improvements will be made. On this day, several pieces of news came, which detonated Qiandu. Several taverns and inns were packed with people, and the storytellers were speaking eloquently. The 30,000-man army of the white-robed General Chen Qingzi defeated the 100,000-man army that Yun State had hastily gathered. They approached the city of Yun State. A law manifestation 6th-grade warrior launched a sneak attack, but was stabbed to death by Chen Qingzi. The Yun State, from the king down, knelt down to welcome the Yun Iron Army into the city. 3 major battles broke out in Yumun Pass in one day. Liang and Qian countries each left tens of thousands of corpses on the Taihei Plain. The troops were called back, but the morale of the Liang army seemed to be weakened, because the homes of countless soldiers were stolen. In the heart of Liang State, General Huo Qubing led 3,000 elite soldiers to slaughter dozens of tribes. They were surrounded by large armies several times, but they broke out of the encirclement by force and then disappeared. The second Prince Li Qian led his army to break through 3 more cities and confronted the 300,000 troops of the Feng Kingdom at the last line of defense, Qingtian Gorge. Among the 4 leading generals, Huo Qubing and Chen Qingzi were the most popular and became the male gods in the hearts of thousands of girls. Countless young women blushed when they heard the names of the two, as if they had imagined something. The men were filled with admiration and jealousy. Don't worry, that's the case. Li Yun in the Imperial Palace felt that the national strength of Great Qian was rising rapidly, and even his cultivation had improved a little. Luck repays its debt. The national strength of Great Qian at this time is even greater than that of Great Qian at its peak. However, I didn't get anything particularly good when I signed in today, just 2 pills for cleansing the meridians and marrow, which can improve my qualifications. Qualifications are divided into useless, ordinary, first class, top, peerless, saint level. Useless people are just trash, unable to sense the vitality of heaven and earth, and acquired as a threshold of difficulty. People with average qualifications can barely get into Dao Palace realm. If a person with first-class qualifications does not have the opportunity, he can only reach the law manifestation realm at best. With top-notch talent, the virtual world is not a dream. With extraordinary talent, if he doesn't die young, there is a high chance that he will achieve the Dao realm. Saint level corresponds to saint realm, and even among billions of people, only one may emerge. However, these 2 pills can only improve a person's aptitude to the peak or peerless level, and no matter what pills are taken in the future, the aptitude cannot be improved anymore. It is of little use to Li Yun now. There is no upper limit to your own great Dao sacred body. Your Majesty, the 6th princess has left Qiandu. Ji Yuan entered the Imperial Palace and reported. Oh, where did you go? Li Yun was a little surprised. My sixth princess hasn't left the house for a long time. Why did she suddenly go out? Looking at the direction, it should be Huaiyang Prefecture. What are you going to Huaiyang Prefecture for at this time? Is there any news from Marquis Huaiyang? Li Yun asked. Yesterday, Marquis Huaiyang sent a message that there was some movement in the Xiwan Mountains. Many monsters were rioting, and they seemed to be fighting for territory. Marquis Huaiyang also sent people to investigate, but there were too many monsters and they were all very violent. His people couldn't get close. Fortunately, the monster riot was confined to the Xiwan Mountains, so he did not investigate further. Li Yun thought about the news and felt that it might have something to do with the sixth princess's visit. How about this, Ji Yuan, you follow her in person and don't let her find you. No matter what happens, don't do anything, just watch. Yes, Your Majesty. Ji Yuan took his leave and left. Li Yun's whispers were heard from deep in the palace. Sixth sister, what are you hiding? I am very interested. Chapter 19. Huo Qubing's target is Wang Yan, Chen Qingzi secures victory. The heartland of Liang State. Under a cliff. The generals and soldiers of the Great Qian were hiding here. More than 400 of the 3,000 elite soldiers were lost, but in terms of combat effectiveness, they are much stronger than before. Wherever they go, they kill people and plunder resources. They took away everything that could be used to improve their cultivation. When they came, they brought more than 100 storage rings, and now they are full. Their current cultivation base has risen by more than one level on average, and the most has even broken through 3 levels. These soldiers have not experienced such intense life and death fighting for many years. Moreover, General Huo ordered them to continuously replenish resources. As long as their bodies could bear it, whether it was spiritual fruit or spirit medicine, they could eat it as food. If he can't absorb it all, he'll find a place to fight and release it all without wasting any energy. Eat after fighting, fight again after eating. Soldiers, have you rested well? Huo Qubing suddenly appeared in front of everyone, but everyone was already used to it. Their general is like a mysterious dragon that is hard to find. He has been in Liang State for so long and has experienced dozens of battles, but he has never taken action. Even after confirming the target, they will disappear, and then reappear like a ghost afterwards. However, in their eyes, the current Huo Qubing has already surpassed his old leader Li Tianba. They have worshipped it as if it were a god. Even if they were asked to go back and pull Li Tianba down from the general's throne, they would not say a word against it. General, my sword has been thirsty for a long time. Yes, General, what's the next target? Many soldiers were chattering and were very enthusiastic. Huo Qubing stretched out his right hand, signaling everyone to be quiet. We are going to have a big game this time. 200 miles ahead is the territory of Tuo Bahai, the king of Liang. Today is Tuo Bahai's birthday, so there must be many wealthy families gathered here. But at the same time, there are many strong men, and the guards are also tight. There are 200,000 troops stationed not far away. We only have half an hour. If we don't withdraw in half an hour, the 200,000 troops will surround us and we will die. Soldiers, it's time to make achievements. Fight, fight, fight. 3,000 people roared at the same time. Fortunately, this place is remote and under a cliff, and there is no human habitation within several miles. Don't worry about being discovered by Liangren. Huo Qubing nodded with satisfaction. Okay. Let's go. The other side. Chen Qingzi escorted the Yun nobles with more than 10,000 soldiers on their return journey, leaving behind more than 20,000 soldiers to garrison Yundu. When they were halfway there, they met up with the 50,000 soldiers who had fallen behind earlier. He led 50,000 soldiers straight into Feng State. After a days-long journey, Qingtian Gorge can be seen from afar. At this moment, several major battles have taken place in Qingtian Gorge, and the smell of blood can be smelled from miles away. Half an hour later, the two armies met up. General Chen is both wise and brave. His feat of conquering the Yun kingdom in just 2 days makes me extremely envious. Li Qian went to greet him in person, and the voice came from a long distance. Your Highness is too kind. Now that I have received the military order, I will do my best. Could you please introduce the current situation to me? Chen Chenji asked directly about the military situation. Li Qian sighed slightly. Our army has launched several attacks, but the soldiers of Feng country are too brave. The one leading the opposing army is the famous General Wu Detong of Feng country. He has been a general for more than 60 years. He is good at deploying troops and making plans. He also attaches great importance to defense. He does not seek to achieve success, but to avoid mistakes. At this rate, it will take even half a month to take it down. Chen Qingzi also frowned. If we only consider defense and not kill the enemy, it will be difficult to break through an army of 300,000 in a short period of time. Have you tried a decapitation operation? Li Qian smiled bitterly again. Last time we went into battle, the two commanders attacked at the same time, but the enemy was well guarded, and Wu Detong was in the center of the army, so it was difficult to take him down. More importantly, Wu Detong is also a law manifestation realm. If I can't kill him with one strike, it will be difficult for me to quit. Chen Qingzi narrowed his eyes. As a void refining realm, if he took action and wanted to kill Wu Detong, it couldn't be easier. But he cannot use his skills beyond the law manifestation realm. Law manifestation realm couldn't make any waves among the hundreds of thousands of troops. Okay, Your Highness, let's prepare for another battle later. Leave the two commanders to me and follow me as the vanguard. Chen Chenji thought for a while and said. Okay. Li Qian said without hesitation. Chen Chenji is already famous, and even the Feng state army on the opposite side must have heard of him. In the opposite camp, Wu Detong, dressed in Confucian robes, with white hair and beard, sat in the middle tent. He used to be the Grand Marshal of the Feng Kingdom's army, but he had been out of office for several years. If it weren't for the fierce attack from the Qian Kingdom this time, he would never sit in this position again. Inside the big tent, all the generals looked worried. With the continuous flow of news from the outside world, they have already realized that they can't hold out for much longer, and the demise of Feng Kingdom is only a matter of time. Especially the old neighbor, who was destroyed by an unknown general in just 2 days. The speed of Qian's actions and the fierceness of his attacks made them all terrified. Especially since they were fighting on 3 fronts and still had the upper hand. Wu Detong also did not hold much hope in his heart. He seemed to have returned to 70 years ago, when he had just joined the army and the Qian Kingdom was prosperous and far-reaching. Don't worry, everyone. Although Yun Kingdom has been destroyed, Liang Kingdom is still there. Qian Kingdom is fighting on 2 fronts, and the cost is not small. They can only make a quick decision, otherwise they will not be able to hold on. So as long as we can delay them, we will have a chance. Wu Detong loudly comforted the generals. Report. A soldier rushed in panic. Why are you so panicking? The deputy general stood up and asked in a cold voice. Report to the commander-in-chief, there are tens of thousands of soldiers coming to support us, led by a white-robed general, who is suspected to be the white-robed general Chen Qingzi of the Qian Kingdom. The soldier swallowed and said with some stammering. It's really because Chen Qingzi's reputation is too great. He only led a few tens of thousands of troops, but he destroyed the Yun Kingdom in 2 days. What? Half of the generals in the military tent stood up. Why are you panicking? Wu Detong frowned and shouted. Even if Chen Qingzi is just a brave warrior in a small area, what can he do to me if hundreds of thousands of troops confront me head-on? As my generals, how can you boost others' ambitions and destroy your own prestige? Report. Another soldier came running over. Generals, the Qian Kingdom has mobilized its troops. Clank. This time, everyone stood up, including Wu Detong. Generals, follow me to meet the enemy. On the battlefield, 2 torrents collided with each other. Here, life was worthless and a life was lost every second. Chen Qingzi was dressed in a white robe and led the way. Shen Zuo and Shen Yu stood on the left and right, 2 long swords ruthlessly reaping lives. Hundreds of soldiers behind him followed and charged forward, each of them bloodthirsty and not caring about life or death. Following General Chen, this battle will be the one that determines victory. In the distance, Wu Detong's eyes were also focused on him. The battlefield here was really conspicuous, and the white-robed general and his entourage were clearly charging towards them. What a great young general. If our Feng Kingdom had such a talent, how could we be forced into such a situation by Qian Kingdom? Wu Detong praised repeatedly. The deputy general at the side looked at Chen Qingzi's indomitable momentum and said with some concern, General, you have to retreat a little. This man's target should be you, General. It's very dangerous. Wu Detong narrowed his eyes, looked at the gradually decreasing number of Qian troops behind Chen Qingzi, hesitated for a moment, and said solemnly, let him come. If he dares to come, I will make sure he can't go back. If we get rid of him, the morale of Qian country will surely drop greatly, and there is still a chance for this battle to turn around. This old man, who had been very stable in several major battles, decided to take a gamble, intending to defeat Chen Qingzi and change the direction of this battle. In the distance, Chen Qingzi had been looking at this side, looking at the motionless central army, with certainty in his heart. Then they looked at Shen Zuo and Shen Yu, and the 3 of them nodded at the same time. Then the 3 of them exerted force at the same time and rushed forward at a speed more than twice faster than before. In an instant, they passed thousands of Wind soldiers and came to a distance of 10 meters in front of Wu Detong. Protect the commander. Feng's deputy general was shocked and quickly called for the guards. However, Chen Qingzi was faster. A flash of cold light arrived first, and then his spear shot out like a dragon, knocking Wu Detong off his horse with one shot. Although Wu Detong fell off his horse, he still blocked the bullet. Then he rolled over and hid in the army formation. At this time, the guards on both sides rushed over. Shen Zuo, Shen Yu, left and right, every time the long sword was swung, it took away dozens of lives. Chen Qingzi snorted coldly, leapt up, and slashed with the tip of his spear. The deputy general's head was cut off and caught in his hand. Commander Wu Detong is dead. Soldiers of Feng country, those who surrender will not be killed. Chen Chenji flew 3 feet up, raised the head in his hand, and roared. The sound added spiritual power and spread across most of the battlefield. Shen Zuo and Shen Yu shouted at the same time. Commander-in-Chief Wu Detong is dead. Soldiers of Feng Nation, those who surrender will not be killed. Great Qian 300,000 soldiers shouted at the same time. Commander-in-Chief Wu Detong is dead, those who surrender will not be killed. Wu Detong, who was still being protected in the army, was stunned, and then his face changed drastically. He was about to shout, but a flash of gunlight had already come towards him. It is just this moment. The situation on the entire battlefield has changed suddenly. The soldiers of Feng State were already fearful, and they also knew that they were bound to lose this battle, it was just a matter of time. When Great Qian came to help, it was Chen Qingzi in white robe who personally led the army. Chen Chenji's reputation of destroying the Yun army in 2 days has already spread everywhere, who would not be afraid. In the central army, Chen Chenji stood above them, holding the head in his hand, and shouted that the commander was dead. They already believed it a little. The shouts of the Great Qian's 300,000 soldiers instantly disintegrated their fighting spirit. At one time, tens of thousands of people abandoned their soldiers and armor. More soldiers fled to the rear crying and shouting, wishing they had 4 legs. Even the tens of thousands of soldiers who were protecting Wu Detong in the army were stunned, and then, retreated. The defeat was like a landslide. In this battle, Great Qian lost more than 10,000 soldiers, killed more than 60,000 Wen soldiers, captured 120,000, and more than 100,000 escaped. Chen Qingzi became famous again. Chapter 20. In the land of 100 countries where spirit qi grows, the 6th princess is intercepted. Qian Do. The storyteller in the restaurant had endless material to tell and spoke eloquently, and laughter could be heard from the cabinet from time to time. White-robed General Chen Qingzi rushed to Qingtian Gorge to provide assistance. He defeated the enemy in the first battle and captured the enemy's general Wu Detong alive. Qingtian Gorge was breached, and the army rushed forward and reached Fengdu. General Huo Qubing led more than 2,000 soldiers to cause a disturbance at Tuo Bahai's birthday banquet, beheaded hundreds of nobles, captured Tuo Bahai alive, and then left safely before an army of 200,000 could encircle and suppress him. The king of Liang was furious. 3 high-level priests of law manifestation went out in person to look for General Huo and his men, but more than 2,000 people seemed to have evaporated from the face of the earth. There was no trace of them. All the major clans of Liang were in danger. At Yumun Pass, the 2 armies fought again. The morale of the Liang army was low, and they were defeated and retreated 30 miles. Shocking. Huo Qubing's 2,000-plus soldiers appeared outside the Liang capital, looted several caravans and disappeared, and hundreds of thousands of Liang troops came to support them. His Royal Highness the Second Prince led an army of 200,000 to besiege Fengdu. General Chen led 200,000 soldiers from Fengguo to Liangguo, and penetrated directly into the heart of Liangguo. Liangguo was greatly alarmed, and all the troops from Yumengguan returned to provide assistance. General Li Tianba, the great general of Zhenbei, led his army to pursue the enemy for 80 miles, and the entire Liang kingdom was defeated. Each piece of good news was more shocking than the previous day. What people talked about more was that Chen Chenji destroyed Yun in 2 days and broke through Qingtian Gorge in one battle. How did Huo Qubing lead more than 2,000 soldiers to cause a scene at the royal banquet, and then mysteriously appear in the capital of Liang state hundreds of miles away? In 2 days, the 2 generals have become the new military gods of Great Qian, and their prestige is unparalleled. The super-old military god Li Tianba is long gone. Huaiyang Prefecture. One battle report after another was placed on the desk of Marquis Huaiyang. Talented people emerge in every generation, and some lead the trend for hundreds of years. Great Qian, there will be successors. Huaiyang Hu Zhu Wang's eyes were full of admiration. Originally, I thought his son Zhu Wuxi was a child of destiny. Compared with these 2, I'm not even worthy of carrying your shoes. As a result, he began to dislike his son. In the past 2 days, he has insulted me several times without reason, and now I don't come to see him anymore. She also said that I was in menopause. If you have 1/10 of what General Chen and General Huo have, I will accept having 3 highs and diabetes and directly transitioning to old age. Then he picked up another piece of paper next to it. This piece of paper contains his record of the major and minor changes that have taken place in the Shiwanda Mountains over the years, if his guess is correct. There have also been changes in the land of the 100 nations, but most people cannot feel them at all, or they are instinctively ignored. He has submitted these contents to His Majesty. Thinking of the Emperor, Marquis Huaiyang frowned again. He had never met the current Emperor, but he knew a lot about him from the side. First of all, like a few days ago when the Jinyue showed up and asked me to choose whether to live or die, I chose to live, so I sent out 100,000 Black Tiger Army. He had never seen or heard of such a domineering and straightforward king. Aren't you afraid that your hundreds of thousands of troops will rebel? Of course, he is now very glad about his choice. Otherwise, the seeds of spring might have already been sown on your grave. Secondly, the bloody incident in Qiandu, the mysterious and powerful Jinyi Wei, the rebellion of Prince Wei, the bloodless change of flag of Prince Ning's army of hundreds of thousands, and the emergence of two mysterious generals. He didn't believe that this was not the work of the emperor behind the scenes. Domineering, iron-blooded, forbearing, ambitious, and mysterious. This is the emperor. An emperor worth following. In Qiandu, Li Yun was also lost in thought. He read the report from Marquis Weiyang. It's about the monsters that come out from time to cause trouble in the Xiwandishan mountains and become stronger and stronger. There were not many monsters equivalent to the Dao Palace realm before, but now a monster comparable to the Law Manifestation realm appears from time to time. If the Black Tiger army was not powerful and the Marquis of Weiyang had not broken through the Law Manifestation realm, there would probably be a lot of trouble. Li Yun couldn't help but become suspicious about this. He had some feelings these days that the spirit qi between heaven and earth seemed to be increasing every day. If he wasn't a great Dao sacred body, he really wouldn't be able to feel it. It seems that some changes have taken place in the land of the 100 nations. Similar to spirit qi resuscitation. Otherwise it is hard to explain. Originally the strongest was the Dao Palace realm's Qian kingdom, but now there are so many law manifestation realms. This is the case with Qian state, and it may be the same for other countries. It was the cloud country and the wind country. According to the news from there was also a strange law manifestation realm that appeared, but it was unable to cause any waves under the pressure of tens of thousands of troops and his plugins. Then, Li Yun's eyes calmed down. Recite silently in your heart. Possessed by the European Emperor, system, sign in. I signed in for 2 pills the day before yesterday, and even signed in for 250 copper coins yesterday. It's really an insult. Ding. Signing in. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed in for 3 years of cultivation and your realm has been raised to the middle stage of void refining. Wow. Li Yun raised his eyebrows. After 3 years of cultivation, his level has increased by a small realm. He is indeed worthy of being called a great Dao sacred body. You must know that the spirit qi in the land of the 100 nations is so thin nowadays that it may be difficult for an ordinary void realm to advance to a small realm in hundreds of years. But damn, if the 500 years of cultivation that I signed in for the first time were the 500 years of cultivation of the great Dao sacred body, that would be heavenly. It's a pity that I was too useless before. Li Yun turned his gaze to outside the Imperial Palace again. Fengyu has died down. Liang state is being attacked from both sides and harassed from within. It is estimated that it will not be able to survive for many more days. Then it's the 6th princess. We should have reached our destination now. I wonder if Ji Yuan can find out something. That woman is not simple. But there is one small matter. I have been on the throne for several days, but the jade seal is still in the imperial mausoleum and has not been taken out yet. All the imperial edicts issued these days were sealed with his own private seal. Although the great Qian was the one who had the final say, it wouldn't be right without the imperial seal, right? After Liang kingdom is destroyed, we will go to the imperial mausoleum to pay homage to our ancestors. Ji Yuan is a little panicked now. Damn, he is the commander of the Jinyi Wei, and even a being in the virtual realm, but he actually lost a woman. What the hell is going on? How can I explain this to His Majesty when I return to Qiandu? He was currently in Wangshan City in Weiyang Prefecture, and 30 miles outside the city was the Xiwanda Mountains. He followed the 6th princess into Wangshan City and disappeared in an instant. He used his void refining realm's spiritual sense to search the entire city, but could not find any trace of the 6th princess. Then he turned his gaze to the Xiwan Mountains. Could it be that she has escaped from the city? He guessed right. At this moment, the 6th princess was indeed in the 10,000 mountains. Li Yuehua's eyes were also fixed in the direction of Wangshan City. Where did this powerful person come from to spy on me? He is definitely stronger than the law manifestation realm. Could it be someone from the Yin-Yang sect? You damn Yin-Yang sect, you made me use the escape talisman. You just wait for me. When I go to the eastern wilderness, I will kill you. The poor Yin-Yang sect was far away in the eastern wilderness, unaware that it had been blamed for the crime. Li Yuehua then turned around and headed towards the secret realm she was exploring. Although there are many monsters gathered there at the moment, according to his calculations, this secret realm can only be entered by humans, and it is a one-time secret realm. Once you enter and come out, it will self-destruct. Half a cup of tea later, Li Yuehua arrived at the location of the secret realm node. A fierce battle is taking place here. And she was very familiar with the party fighting against them. It was her spirit group leader, Ling Yi. Ling Yi, why are you here? Have we found that little thief? Li Yuehua said in surprise. Your Highness. Ling Yi exclaimed in surprise. Li Yuehua looked at the monsters that were constantly attacking around her, and with a flick of her sleeve, a huge shockwave appeared. Dozens of monsters were knocked over as if they were hit by a huge force. The weaker ones even exploded into a bloody mist. Being both at the law manifestation ninth grade, the difference in strength is immediately apparent. It's just right that you're here, so I don't have to look for you. This is the secret realm. Let's go in together later. After you enter the secret realm, we can go look for that little thief. Li Yuehua said lightly. Ling Yi scratched his head awkwardly and said with an unpleasant expression, Your Highness, the little thief is right here. Here. Where? Li Yuehua was stunned, then looked in the direction Ling Yi pointed, her face froze. You mean he entered the secret realm? Ling nodded. Then, a burst of impotent rage sounded in the dense forest. Ah! You shameless little thief, I will never coexist with you. A little monkey with a round head stretched out its curious head, and then a sword energy flew over and cut its head into a short flat head. Countless startled birds and beasts instantly exploded into a ball of blood mist. Fang Xiang, who was feeling complacent about having escaped Ling Yi's poisonous clutches in the secret realm, suddenly shuddered, as if he was entangled by a deep resentment. He could not sense anything outside, and then he sat cross-legged. He planned to hide for a few days first. That guy couldn't be waiting for him outside. At worst, we can wait until the old man wakes up. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.